This is the mindset of many Democrats around the United States, especially in big cities, just like here in St. Louis. So we'll be talking about that later on in the show. Also, back to Sam Page. He is the St. Louis County executive who's under indictment. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. We'll continue on that. And then I am a big I love to fly, right? Not because I like flying. I just like getting somewhere quickly, and I love vacation. Because if I'm on an airplane, it usually means I am going somewhere fun and I'm going to have a good time and enjoy myself. But these last few vacations for me, the flights have been interesting, right? I've noticed more turbulence. I went to Richmond about a month ago, and I mean, two of my flights, the turbulence was so bad. I mean, we're talking in the middle of summer. The turbulence was so bad that they didn't even bring the drink cart out. Now, not that I needed something from the drink carts. I'm just saying that's how bad it was on back-to-back flights. So we're going to be talking about these continued issues with turbulence, especially with a Delta flight. That the turbulence was so bad, it was forced to land in Minneapolis. And then it is a big day. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. It is MLB trade deadline day. And isn't it interesting? Right when we got off the air yesterday, my New York Mets made a trade with the St. Louis Cardinals, and Ethan and I were talking off the air about that pickup for the New York Mets, and it was, by the way, someone that Ethan said when we talked about it yesterday could be on the trade block for the Cardinals. And we'll be talking right after the deadline hits. Deadline hits at 5 p.m. St. Louis time. We'll be talking with Scott Warmann. He is the studio host for FanDuel Sports Midwest, and he'll be talking about what trades the Cardinals made and really how are the Cardinals set up for the rest of the season, right? I mean, they are still in the wild card talk. I'm a very optimistic person, so maybe there are people out there who don't feel the same way I do. But when you're within, I mean, when you're within single digit games, I feel that you're still in the hunt. Again, how much do you want to risk to make that run? But again, as a Mets fan, I have seen my New York Mets when I was in college. I saw the Mets blow, a double-digit lead in the month of September. So it's very possible to still make a run. So we'll talk with him and see where he thinks it all stands here on this trade deadline day. We're also the President Donald Trump, and this is something I wasn't aware had gone away in schools. The presidential fitness test. Do you remember this? I remember. They had the gym all dressed up for the presidential fitness test back in my day when I was in school. But apparently they've gotten rid of the presidential fitness test at a time where a majority of Americans are at the very least overweight. We are seeing we're seeing so many health issues, more, what's the word I'm looking for? We're seeing more episodes of what used to be rare health issues, higher percentage of, I mean, we're talking preteens who are pre-diabetic. So yeah, I think not only do we have to get the presidential fitness test, I think we need RFK to be looking into what's in our food, what kids are eating these days, and it's how sick are we making, especially our kids. I mean, obviously we want everyone to be healthy. We want everyone to turn their lifestyle around if they're in that high percentage of overweight or in that percentage of obese Americans. But we want to make sure that our kids get a fair shot and that our kids are, they learn the routine of daily workout, of eating healthy, making sure you don't, you don't eat 10,000 calories a day unless you're Michael Phelps, and responsible eating and just mindful eating. And, so many of us are just guilty of, oh my gosh, I'm hungry. Let me go look at the snack machine. that might be okay for you. You don't want to pass that down to your kids. So I am all for making, stressing fitness in schools and trying to reverse some of these dangerous numbers. We all remember COVID and the lockdowns. It was a lot worse here in New York State than most places with the lockdowns and the government control. And one thing that I've always just surprised me. 5 years later, I have not been able to get an answer on this. 78% of hospital people who were sent to the hospital over COVID, well, 78% were overweight or obese. Yet in the county I live in New York State, Erie County, 5 years later, they still don't list obesity or being overweight as a comorbidity to a severe COVID case. And that's always just baffled me. Gyms were closed for almost a full year here in New York State. I mean, really taking the focus off, hey, what's one way you can better prepare yourself for something like the flu, for COVID? Be in better shape. And instead, we were incentivizing sitting at home on your butt doing nothing. That is not the message we want to be sending to kids. So I applaud the president. Again, this will be an executive order he is signing today to bring back the presidential fitness test. And again, I don't know what year they got rid of it, but if you're listening to my voice, if you're at least my age of 36 or older, you remember the presidential fitness test, and it will be back in schools. Again, trying to reverse this trend in America where, diseases brought on by an unhealthy lifestyle seem to be trending up and not trending down. And when you know so much more, when we are so educated on how to be healthy and how to take care of ourselves, there really should be more of an initiative in schools to make sure that we're giving kids the fair start and the fair shot at that healthy lifestyle. They told me when I was in school, you're not going to always have a calculator in your pocket. Well, they were wrong about that. And so maybe we can get rid, this is controversial statement coming. Maybe we can get rid of a year of math and, replace that with fitness, how to balance a checkbook, even if it's just an app, all that great stuff. That's a discussion for a different time. But I'm a big fan of the presidential fitness test. I'm a big fan of getting kids used to a healthy, active lifestyle. And let's make sure with this next generation, we turn the trend around. It is Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon here on 97.1 FM Talk. When we come back, we'll be talking about the Sydney Sweeney jeans ad that has the left freaking out.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Hey, if you are just leaving the office, westbound 70 looks great. In fact, that's your best bet. It's a little bit of moderate volume at 141 and then approaching Highway A out through Wentzville, but that's it. Now, westbound 64, little moderate volume. This is more like Clayton Skinker. Then it's slow at 270, still moderate, and then some volume from, looks like Highway N now out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, so volume approaching Olive, down in pockets through Manchester. But that's the worst of it. I mean, southbound 55, a little slow at Bates, but that's it. On the Illinois side, first of all, the bridges downtown are fine. But on the Illinois side, we've got eastbound 64 slowing between 157 and 159. That's all due to road work. This report brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air and Electrical.
And electrical.
JerryKelly.com. Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired? Do you have your personalized income plan in place? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market, and how in 39 years we have never lost a penny of our clients' money?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton, Tuesday, August 5th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into. And that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Cutting through the spin. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon here on 97.1 FM Talk. And, you know, a lot of people are up in arms over the new Sydney Sweeney ad. And we are going to talk. Ethan, I'm sorry. I know you said something in my ear and I did not hear you. I apologize.
Yeah, we're working on getting our guest on right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're working on that. But Sydney Sweeney Jean ad, I mean, this is, you know, these are the style ads that I remember from back in the 90s. You know, I mean, the billboards that used to be up in Times Square for Calvin Klein. I mean, we all remember the Seinfeld episode of Kramer and the agreement he got with Calvin Klein after they stole his Ocean cologne idea. This is nothing new. And you've got people on the political left freaking out about it. Well, writing about it in the USA Today was Ingrid Jcques, and she joins us now. Ingrid, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
What was your initial reaction when you first saw the Sydney Sweeney ad?
I think a giant eye roll, but I thought it was worth writing about because I think I just saw it as another instance of progressives not letting go of their woke agenda, their big push for DEI and everything from advertisement to college campuses. And it just seemed really, the overreaction seemed very tone deaf to me. I mean, here you have this successful, hot young woman. Why wouldn't a company like American Eagle want her to model their jeans? And I think the fact that the company is seeing a real boost from this shows that it was a good decision.
So is it Sydney Sweeney, or is it the fact that it's a straight white woman? I mean, what do you think is freaking out the left?
Oh, I mean, I think the fact that in the ad she dares to make a pun on jeans. She's got good genes, you know, like she's got blue eyes and blonde hair, and just the whole fact she would even say that. And she says it with a smile, right? Like this is not some sort of serious treatise on race. She's just having fun with it. And so is the company. But I think she's blonde, she's blue eyed, and the fact that they're playing that up, that just freaked out the liberals. And it's just so silly. That's not what the ad's about. She's just a pretty actress selling selling jeans.
And if you haven't heard it, this is the ad. Let's play clip 14, the Sydney Sweeney ad.
Hey, American Eagle. Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Now, I mean, let me ask you this, Ingrid. You know, to me, I mean, this just looked like any other clothing ad. I mean, I grew up in the '90s. This was every time a show went to the break, it was something. It was something like this. Do you think? Right. Do you think this is a sign that the days of the Calvin Klein trans ads are done, and companies will double down on something like Sydney Sweeney?
Well, I think it's a good sign that they're just open to going back to kind of these more old-fashioned strategies, right? I mean, and something I've been really pleased about, and I haven't seen it, but I have not seen anything close to an apology or backtracking from American Eagle or Sydney Sweeney, and I'm really glad to see that, because even a few years ago, I think if there were this kind of pressure campaign based on race or gender, there would have been probably a forced apology of some kind. But I think it says a lot that that's not happening here.
No, I completely agree. And I mean, just the mindset to think that American Eagle, I mean, a company that, again, has been around as long as I can remember, is putting out, Nancy propaganda and white supremacy whistles. I mean, it's just crazy that even crosses people's mind.
It is. And honestly, as someone who also happens to have blonde hair and blue eyes, I find it offensive that that's the first thing that a lot of these liberals are pointing to, that just because you look a certain way, you must be promoting a certain agenda. That in and of itself is racist. So I'm glad to see that American Eagle just kind of embracing, highlighting a beautiful young woman. I mean, who cares what race she is? And I hope it's a sign that we're moving beyond this very narrow DEI focused world.
I hope so too. And let's just, because we're always going to have people like clip 15. Let's play some of the, this is clip 15, a TikTok reaction where a lot of these freakouts are happening.
Hey, American Eagle. Now do Black and brown women. Because Black and brown women also have great genes that they inherit from their parents. Did you know that?
Talking about blue jeans and white people, boycott American Eagle. Boycott the out of them.
A blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
I mean, that first one. So just because you're saying a white woman has good genes, it doesn't mean that an African-American woman can't also have good genes. I mean, it's crazy to say one. They're saying if you say one, it means you're saying the other is not possible. No one's saying that.
Absolutely not. And it's just ridiculous that they're stretching this to try to make that point. And it's a fun, sexy ad campaign, and she's playing off. I mean, blue jeans. Come on, it's a play on words, and the fact that these people don't have enough sense of humor to understand it, I think it says a lot about them.
And you mentioned in your piece in USA Today that, it's not just companies that are starting to roll back, but we're starting to see this on college campuses too, which means, the next generation might not be freaking out into their TikTok.
That would be nice. I think it would be a better world for it. And I appreciate the Trump administration for using the incentive of federal funding to help encourage these universities to cut back on these programs, because I think, they might sound good and, beneficial for a welcoming community, but it ends up doing the complete opposite. It just leads to more distrust among different student groups, among races, among gender divides. It's harmful, and I think it's an excellent thing that we're seeing we're seeing this receding from our culture.
Let me ask you this. This is something that I have said for a while now. You know, you see all of these liberals on social media, and you know, if especially when Trump got elected, right? If something doesn't go their way, I mean, it's everything is racist, everything's you're a Nazi. I mean, do you think that goes back to, for a generation, or you know, for at least a decade, you had college kids, if they threw a big stink about Ben Shapiro doing a show, the college would cancel it. And if you were an ultra liberal, the college played to your mindset, and really you would only hear your voices. These kids got out of college and they can't believe it. Wait, not everyone agrees with me. This is ridiculous.
No, that's an excellent point. And you know, we've seen the fruits of that kind of mindset over and over in the last, you know, I'd say especially the last 5 years. You know, this happens a lot in my business at different media companies. You have these young people coming out of college, not used to being exposed to different points of view, and they can't handle it in the workplace, in their daily lives. And that's not beneficial for anyone.
Now, when I talked about this on my show in Buffalo earlier, the discussion went to, you know, the actual jeans in the ad. It's like this 90s style has come back full circle.
Yeah, it has. It brings back some awkward growing up years for me. But I mean, something else that these liberals who are freaking out aren't acknowledging is that all the money that is coming from at least one of the pairs of jeans that was designed in collaboration with Sydney Sweeney is going to a crisis helpline for people in need of mental health support. So, I mean, that's great. But instead of focusing on that, it's just all about her immutable characteristics that she can't do anything about. And she's just having fun with it. So I think the whole thing was silly, but it also shows a lot that I think there's plenty of progressives, Democrats who just refuse to move on from this obsession with gender identity, DEI. And I think that was soundly rejected in our last election, and it just doesn't seem like they're getting the message.
No, they sure are. Hey, Ingrid, it was a great read, and I really appreciate you joining me this afternoon.
Thanks for having me on.
That is Ingrid Jcques. She is at the USA Today, and she wrote this piece. Sydney Sweeney's jean ad triggers liberals. She looks good. They don't. Make sure you go out and read that. When we come back, we will be joined by Tim Fitch. He is a former St. Louis County Police Chief and St. Louis County Councilman. He's got a pretty long resume, and we'll talk with him about Mamdani's attempted rollback of his past anti-police statements, and also his thoughts on the county executive. All after this on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads this afternoon, it looks pretty good, but we have a little bit of volume. Southbound 270 at 70, westbound 6440, right around Clayton Skinker, and then some moderate volume headed for 270. Now, 70 out of downtown looks great. It doesn't really slow until Highway A out through Wentzville. And out west, 64 has a slow pocket or two, but that's just between Highway N and 70. And we're in good shape on 44. That looks great. 55 slowing at Bates. On the Illinois side, we're quiet on the bridges, but there's road work eastbound 64 and a slowdown between 157 and 159. In fact, westbound is a little slow in the Shiloh and O'Fallon area as well. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care, helping you with preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid weekly. This Medicaid program is available to eligible St. Louis residents. New to Medicaid, the Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 7,000 five-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. If you live in the St. Louis area, this service is available through Medicaid. And with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid weekly. So go to freedomcare.com now, or for faster service, call 314-697-4912. 314-697-4912. That's 314-697-4912.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
While you start to think spring, that might mean a move is in your future. But the question is, when is the right time to buy? Well, I go to my friend Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage to ask that question. Stewie, how do buyers beat the competition when they're looking to buy a new home?
All right, Annie, we're going to give you 3 big bullets. Number 1, get the bagel loan. No closing costs. If you don't have to pay those closing costs, add it to the bid. You'll beat all the other offers. Number 2, tell the seller you're going to close in 10 days. 10 days, most lenders take 30 days just to get the loan approved. He's going to take your offer over everybody else's right away. Number 3, we give you the power of the pre-approval in your hands. You can access our portal anytime you want and generate your own pre-approval letter. Don't wait for the lender. You can make it happen yourself.
Well, the smart move starts by calling or texting my friend Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. He just gave you those 3 tips to smart buying to beat the competition. Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
When you're injured on the job, you need more than just a workers' comp lawyer. When you need a fighter, you need us. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, for the people. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Mark Cox here. Let me introduce you to my friends at the Lit Cigar Lounge in St. Louis, where luxury meets comfort. Premium hand-rolled cigars, an extensive selection of rare bourbons and whiskeys and craft cocktails. It's comfortable for non-smokers, too. They have a state-of-the-art ventilation system. They have private lockers and live music every Friday night, perfect for date nights or business meetings or just winding down. Visit litstl.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. If you want immediate cash for your home or to see what your home is actually worth in today's market, find out for free from the local experts. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 3:32. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
From barbecues to baseball fields. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
It is Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon here on 97.1 FM Talk, and great to be with you on this Thursday. You know, yesterday we touched on this a little bit. Zoran Mamdani, he is running for mayor in New York City. Here is a clip of Zoran then and Zoran now. Let's play clip 27.
When we talk about defund the NYPD, the entirety of the push is defund the NYPD and refund all of these different social services and things that actually create safety.
The vision that we've put forward in this campaign, despite what others may say, is not to defund the police. It is, in fact, to allow those officers to respond to these serious crimes that many of them signed up to address.
I mean, even his rhetoric during the campaign from the primary to now has changed. But, I mean, we have 5 years of this guy talking about defunding the police. Now, in an election where he's against Eric Adams, who's very pro-police, and former Governor Cuomo, who, you know, I wouldn't say as pro-police as Eric Adams, but more pro-police than Zoran Mamdani. Let's ask Tim Fitch about it. He's a former St. Louis County Police Chief and also former councilman in St. Louis County. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
What do you think of Zoran Mamdani's new explanation when it comes to police in New York in the NYPD?
Believe him when he tells you he wants to defund the police. That's exactly what he'll plan to do. He'll say whatever he can say right now to try to get himself elected. That's not unusual. But like I said, take him for his word. Listen to what he said.
What would defunding, at any level, right? We have a mayoral race here in Buffalo, New York, and in the primary, it was the defund the police senator, the state senator against the pro police mayor, and unfortunately, the defund the police state senator won the primary. What would something like that mean? Let's say at any level. Some of this defund stuff that we've heard for the last 5 years, what would that mean for a city like St. Louis, like New York, if any funds were taken from the police force?
Well, we've already seen a taste of that in St. Louis with the previous administration in the city of St. Louis, where she was very much in favor of defunding the police and did. The first thing she did was cut 100 positions out of the police budget. So we saw what happened with crime in the city of St. Louis. It continues to this day. People still don't feel safe to go downtown and many of the places in the city where they'd like to attract visitors. We're just finally starting to see some change there. I think the new mayor, I believe it when she says that she wants to add additional officers to the department, get them back as close to strength as they can get. But the damage has already been done. So it's going to take a long time to undo it.
Another thing we heard from people in the Mamdani camp, I guess we call them the Democratic Socialists, is this idea of replacing police with social workers for certain instances. But I mean, any instance can turn into, something where you need a trained police officer. What would happen if you replace members of the force with social workers?
We've already seen that. Social workers will get hurt. They'll get killed. We've seen that. The successful programs around the country. And by the way, Joe, I agree with taking employees that work for the police department, engaging them in social services with mentally ill people on the street, homeless, things like that. However, the successful programs match up a police officer, a mental health professional, and usually like an EMS or firefighter. And in teams, the three of them will go handle those kind of incidents. But the last thing you want to do is send an unarmed civilian out there, social worker, and say, go out there and figure out about what's going on here. Because I'll tell you one thing about the mentally ill is they're unpredictable. You don't know exactly what they're going to do. And if you send an unarmed person out there to deal with what you may think just is a simple mental health call, bad things can happen, and they do happen.
Exactly. I mean, that's the reason that we have trained police officers and we have armed police officers. You hear a lot of these politicians that are for defund the police. They're for taking the guns away. There's a politician here in Erie County, New York, who was on the defund the police train. He is all about, taking away your gun rights. However, he at all times is protected with 2 county sheriffs. I mean, to me, that's hypocrisy.
Yeah, we had the same thing here. Cori Bush was a congresswoman from the 1st District, U.S. Congresswoman, and she was a defund the police part of that crowd. But she always had security, and she said, well, people want to hurt me, so I have to have security with me at all times, which, by the way, she was paying for out of her political funds, and it was her, at that point, boyfriend. Now I believe husband, that was doing the protecting. So this is what I need for me, but you can't have it.
Oh yeah, see it way too much with today's politics. Tim, you were also on the council, and would love to know your thoughts on the indictment of the county executive.
It wasn't terribly surprising to me. I've said this about Sam Page for a long time. Is he always rode the line between okay and not okay. And it was just a matter of time till he crossed the line. And that's what it certainly looks like he did this time. Sam Page is one of those people that most of the community, they continue to vote him back in because it's a Democratic community. And during the pandemic, which was the last time he ran, he's a medical doctor. So I think a lot of people just like, okay, he's a doctor. What all these shutdowns and sports closings and all the things that he did, he must know what he's talking about because he's a medical doctor. And so they voted him back in. I think this next time, he's 1 year away from the primary in St. Louis County. I think this is going to hurt him when it comes to fundraising. I would fully expect to see a strong Democratic primary opponent pop up any day now and start fundraising to run against Sam Page. One thing I tell you about Sam Page, he's not going to give up. He'll fight this all the way through the end, this indictment, and hope for the best. But I think he's been wounded seriously for the first time ever to where this is going to affect whether or not he can get himself reelected. So, but that's how Sam Page is put together. The people that like Sam Page are the ones that do business with the county, that have jobs, they're family friends, they have a job with the county. Everybody else, for the most part, if you know Sam Page, you know what kind of person he is, and it's not somebody that you would want to support.
Well, you answered my next question. So you don't see Sam Page stepping down or resigning under this indictment?
Absolutely not. I think what he'll do is if he gets convicted of a felony, he's a medical doctor, he'll lose his license if he's convicted of a felony. Plus, he'll forfeit his seat. So my guess is he'll try to work out some sort of deal, whether you plead everything down to a misdemeanor. If you plead guilty to a misdemeanor, it probably won't affect his medical license, and he can only be removed by a recall of the people or if he steps down himself. I don't see his ego allowing him to step down.
One last question I have for you, Tim, back to the defund the police movement. Over the last 5 years, I mean, have you seen the local Democratic Party, the leaders locally, move more and more away from that? I mean, do you think this is the kind of thing that's going to come in waves, or do you think that's a chapter we're finally about to close in St. Louis?
I think we're about to close it. There's really only one big defund the police person still in our metro area in elected office. It's Megan Green, the president of the Board of Aldermen in the city of St. Louis. She's kind of the last person standing in the defund the police crowd. And my guess, she's a short timer as well. And even Sam Page would support police initiatives. So I would give him credit for that. All of the Democrats on the council, except for one, Lisa Clancy, also supported the police and continue to support the police. So I think it's getting to be something of the past. And when Megan Green is out of office, she kind of will be the last person standing, unless she's voted back in, which could be. We'll see.
Well, Tim, that's great to hear because it never should have even been a thing. And I'm hoping, along with St. Louis, the country is moving away from that. But obviously, we have the big question mark in New York City this November.
That's right. And what will happen is if he gets in office, he'll fail. He'll take a lot of New York City down with him. And I think you're going to see that in Buffalo, too, in your county there, or your city rather there, that, they get in office, they get all these great ideas, and then it collapses because that's how we know socialism works. It never is sustainable.
Yeah, the problem is New York City, there's a lot more to ruin than here in Buffalo.
Yep, that's right. Well, remember when New York City, I'm old enough to remember when they had to get bailed out by the federal government financially. Yep. So they've been through this before. They hit rock bottom. If you had never been in New York City in the 70s, I was. I will tell you, it was an absolute nightmare. It was a mess. You were scared to death in Manhattan to be in downtown New York City. And really, when Rudy Giuliani got into office, he turned it around. Despite how he is today, he did a great job of turning the city around and making it safe again. And I hope it doesn't go back to the way it was back then.
Same. And I'll tell you, as you said, every time, right, they get into power and they fail, yet you've got these democratic socialists that somehow are still able to convince people in some parts of the country that socialism is the answer, even though time and time again it has failed.
That's right. And it'll fail again if he gets into office.
It sure will. Hey, Tim, great talking with you. We'll talk again soon. All right.
All right, Joe. Take care.
That is Tim Fitch. He is a former St. Louis County police chief and former St. Louis County councilmen. I'll say this about Mayor Rudy Giuliani. The biggest mistake he made as mayor was endorsing Mario Cuomo over George Pataki. But, that was 30 some years ago. When we come back, we will talk a little bit more about this and also some news that was made earlier today. It's Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this afternoon, we've got some volume on the Illinois side. It's a slowdown due to road work on eastbound 64 between 157 and 159. And westbound traffic slows just east of 159 as well. Now, we're fine on the bridges downtown if you're headed in from Missouri to Illinois. And westbound 64 on the Missouri side, some moderate volume now at Hampton at 270. And then Highway N out through the 70 split. 70 westbound, a little slow past the airport, but not bad. Slowing Highway A out through Wentzville. Same thing, moderate volume on southbound 270. It's Page down through Manchester. We've got 44 with some moderate volume on either side of 141 and a little bit of a slowdown on southbound 55 at Bates. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. This summer, while you stay cool, our first responders stay on the front lines. The St. Louis First Responder Canteen is there to keep them hydrated and supported. Find out how you can help by visiting 971talk.com/talkinaction.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
That baby's gone! Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired? Do you have your personalized income plan in place? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market, and how in 39 years we have never lost a penny of our clients' money?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton, Tuesday, August 5th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Midwest made. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. It is Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon here on 97.1 FM Talk. Great to be with you on this Thursday. I gotta say, I have been focused a lot on the Colbert story and him being canceled, his show being canceled, because I was a huge David Letterman fan. Now, I'm sure David Letterman and I politically didn't agree, but he didn't make his show the liberal hangout, right? I mean, his show is where actors, actresses, musicians, artists, comics. I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. Norm Macdonald was on that show a lot. Loved when Norm was on and it was a weekday and I had to go to school. The VCR was set, okay? The VCR was recording Letterman. Letterman was funny for everybody. Stephen Colbert, from the minute he took over that show, alienated half his audience. And by the way, that's fine if it works. But most people who are up at 11:35, most people who, want they want an escape. They want to be able to laugh, right? They're about to go to bed. You want something to laugh at before your day is done. Or you want to hear how your toaster is also a time machine, and we got that for you with Coast to Coast. But remember the days of Letterman when this would be the opening?
From New York, the greatest city in the world, it's the Late Show with David Letterman. Tonight, Cher.
Oh.
And Jerry Springer.
In 98?
Was Paul Schaefer.
I mean, that was the lineup. And in 1998, Cher and Jerry Springer, that's a pretty good lineup for 1998. Now you turn on Stephen Colbert, and it's Elizabeth Warren or tonight, Kamala Harris. That is not what you think when you think of a late night show. I mean, it's really become the liberal therapy session nightly at 11:35. And, I would always just get upset because, again, it is something I used to love, the late night shows. I would flip to Leno, I would flip to Letterman, and then I would, kind of just, unless there was a guest I really liked, like a Norm Macdonald or a Jim Norton, I kind of sat back until Craig Ferguson. Loved Craig Ferguson's show on the Late Late Show. Conan was funny. You don't have any of that now. I mean, you have, of the late night shows, you have 4 hosts who go in there with an agenda. And again, if it works, that's fine. But that's not what people watch late night TV for. If you want politics, you get it all day. You get it on the radio. You get it on cable TV. There is no shortage of politics. Late night, you want Johnny Carson, right? You want Leno. You want Conan. You want someone that's going to make you laugh no matter where you stand politically. And yes, that means jokes about the people who are in charge. But the problem with a Colbert, and especially Seth Meyers, is their jokes are fueled by hatred. You can't be funny when you're fueled by hatred. It's like Alec Baldwin's Trump. Alec Baldwin's Trump wasn't funny. Not because Alec Baldwin's not a good actor. It's because when he did Trump, he did it with a hatred. Will Ferrell's George Bush was hilarious because he was doing it as a comic actor. But now anything that's Trump, it's just fueled with this hatred, and it's all about making a point. There's no Colbert monologue that if you stood on the political right, you would laugh at. He never went after Biden. He never went after Harris. And again, every night, it's Pelosi. It's Elizabeth Warren. It's Adam Schiff. Who the hell's staying up till midnight to watch? These people are on my TV all day. And again, half the country doesn't want to hear what Elizabeth Warren says. I mean, to that point, half the country doesn't want to hear what Josh Hawley says. I get it. But there's a reason Gutfeld works and these shows don't. And it's not the political bend. It's Gutfeld has comedians on. People that are going to make you laugh. I mean, he has Jim Florentine. He's had Rich Voss on, Jim Norton. These are guys that, are from the old Opie and Anthony show back in the day. They're funny. They're funny people. And again, unless you're watching the late local news, you want to laugh. And the people freaking out, again, the Elizabeth Warrens freaking out, saying that it's because of his criticism of Trump. No one is getting canceled because they criticize Trump. Most people are getting a raise in today's Hollywood or media if they're criticizing Trump. He's getting criticized because he's spending hundreds of millions of dollars on 200 person staff. Are you kidding me? And they're bleeding $50 million. they're bleeding as much money as public media. That's why they're getting canceled. CBS is in the money-making business. And Kimmel will be next. I think Fallon will hang on because Fallon has the Tonight Show and it's a prestigious entity. But just like we talked about in the first segment with Ingrid, America's moving away from the woke. I think America wants to move back to comedy for everybody. And yes, we poke fun at Trump. We poke fun at Biden, but we're not getting an agenda across. We're just trying to be funny. And I think America is ready for that. And if CBS wants to dip back into this late night thing, maybe go back to the Letterman style. It is Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon, and we'll be back after this on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Hey, a pretty good commute so far. If you are leaving downtown on westbound 70, just some moderate volume at Lindbergh at 141 and approaching Highway A out through Wentzville. 6440, moderate volume, approaching Hampton out through McCausland. We do have an accident reported eastbound just as you approach 270. Southbound 270, moderate volume between Page and Ladue Road. And then out west, 70 and 64 westbound, a little bit of moderate volume at their merge. Now, we do have a slowdown westbound 44 at 270. And then again from Bowles to just past 141. And some volume southbound 55 at Bates. There's construction on the Illinois side causing delays. Eastbound 64 between 157 and 159. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon for Game Day Men's Health, and they have an amazing offer for you that I think you should take advantage of. And if you've checked out maybe some competitors and you haven't been happy, or maybe you're looking for something a little different, and guys, this could be along the lines of you have, energy that's just not there. You get home, you don't want to do the things that you want to do, brain fog, poor sleep, mood swings, loss of muscle mass. They're offering you a free testosterone and PSA test just for coming into the office at Game Day Men's Health. There's 3 locations I'll guide you in here specifically in a second. I'm partial to Chesterfield. That's where Matt Lawrence is and his team. They're going to answer all your questions. It's an hour visit. In 20 minutes, you'll have the blood work back. They'll come up with a plan for you. The pricing, very simple. It includes all the medicines and supplies, including the follow-up visits, all the consultations, and any questions. They're not going to add extra fees or charges as part of your game plan, your therapy. So if you haven't checked it out, check them out today. The Chesterfield location right at 6440 and Olive. They're in Glen Carbon, Illinois, and in O'Fallon, Missouri as well. Get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health at GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Time's running out for U.S. trading partners. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Tariff rates set to rise.
Reciprocal tariffs, first announced by President Trump in April, are set to take effect Friday.
The trade team has been working around the clock to try to be in correspondence with as many countries as possible. But if they haven't heard from us yet, they will in the form of a letter or an executive order by midnight tonight.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says tailor-made tariff agreements were struck with several major U.S. trading partners, including the EU, UK, South Korea, and Japan. Economists have warned increased costs to importers could drive up consumer prices, a concern administration officials say is not bearing out with tariffs already imposed.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The president just telling reporters he's not ruling out a trade deal with Canada, even though criticizing their plan to recognize a Palestinian state. Tomorrow, a U.S. envoy and ambassador to Israel will visit Gaza for a first-hand account of the situation on the ground.
President Trump has a humanitarian heart, that he wants to get as much food into Gaza as possible without it being looted by Hamas.
State Department Deputy Spokesperson Tommy Pigott as the U.S. and Israel also blame Hamas for lack of a ceasefire. President Trump just signing an executive order to reestablish the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition and restart the presidential fitness test at schools.
We have an opportunity at being the 70th anniversary of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition to literally change the fabric of kids' lives.
Golfer Bryson DeChambeau among the athletes joining the president for that White House announcement. The Republican National Committee chair makes it official.
I am running to be the next senator from the great state of North Carolina.
Already endorsed by President Trump, Michael Whatley joins a North Carolina race that includes former Democratic Governor Roy Cooper to replace outgoing Republican Senator Thom Tillis. America is listening to Fox News.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
There's one question every couple needs to answer. What if something happens to us? Kids, a house, a life you've built, but no estate plan? That's a risk you don't want to take. With Trust and Will, it's fast, secure, and easy to protect what matters most. Start your plan today at trustandwill.com. Use code RADIO to save 20%. Check it off your list. One less thing to worry about. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Still unsettled skies, a mix of clouds and sunshine going through the afternoon, and there will be a couple of scattered showers. 82 for the high. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, 64. A top 10 weather day on Friday. Lots of sunshine, wonderful. Low humidity, 79. Weekend is spectacular. Saturday, sunny near 80, so mainly in the 70s. Sunday, sunny and 82. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Hey, it's Matt, your Leaf Filter Trusted Pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Joe Beamer. Mark is taking some personal time off, but we expect him back soon. In the meantime, I am very happy to be here with you on this Thursday. It is 4:05, and the president just a few minutes ago announced the reestablishment of the presidential fit test. Let's hear clip 35, and then I want to see what everyone remembers from the presidential fit test. So clip 35.
The order directs the council to develop strategies to improve America's physical fitness and renew the American spirit, excellence, competitiveness, and sportsmanship. To that end, I'm pleased to announce that we're officially restoring the Presidential Fitness Test and the Presidential Fitness Award, and it's going to be a very big thing. From the late 1950s until the 2013, graduate scholars all across our country competed against each other in the Presidential Fitness Test, and it was a big deal. This was a wonderful tradition, and we're bringing it back.
All right, so we're bringing it back. We've got Sue, we've got Fred, we've got Ethan in the studio. All right, Sue, what do you remember from the presidential fitness test?
I remember it being a big deal, and the one where you had to climb the rope, right? They would just like drop that in the gym and say, all right, we're all going to climb this. And, you know, you're just a little kid with the scrawny arms, and I never made it up, but the rest of the events were really kind of fun.
Yeah, the sit-ups, the pull-ups.
Right.
I remember having to run a mile, but I'm being told that's not part of the fitness test.
I didn't have to do that. Ethan, did you have to do that?
Well, unless I'm thinking of a different fitness test in high school, I want to say we did have to run a mile. Yeah.
Did you do that, Fred?
Oh, yeah. We had to run around the school block like 8 times to do a mile.
Oh, my gosh, that is hilarious.
Did you guys have to do the pacer test?
What's that?
I don't remember that.
No one, Joe?
No, what's the pacer test?
The pacer test is basically, I mean, from one side of the gym to the other, the short way, the width.
Yeah.
There's like a little beep that plays, and at first it's every 20 seconds, and you have to make it to the other side of the court before that beep. And then the longer you go, the shorter the time between those beeps. And it's meant to, you know, like I said, test your pacing ability.
I gotcha.
Your
no, never did that.
You never did that?
No.
Interesting.
Huh.
We did 17s for lacrosse practice because, you know, the first month of lacrosse season was indoors here in Buffalo because it's still snowing. And 17s were all in your lacrosse equipment. And you know how hot a gym can get, even in the winter with the heat going. So we'd have to run 17 times the width, like Ethan said, back and forth. And if the coach saw someone with their mouth guard out, if both hands weren't on your lacrosse stick, you'd have to start 17. Not just you. The whole team would have to do 17 again, except for the person who got caught. They would sit in the middle of the gym, and we'd all have to stare at them as we're running.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, why did they get rid of this to begin with? Not that weird thing, but I mean presidential stuff to begin with. Why is it gone?
Yeah, I
don't
didn't
know.
even, like I said, I didn't even know it was gone. But I just assumed that everyone was still putting their foot in the little box and seeing how far they can get the the thing to go. Remember that?
I don't remember that at all. It's hilarious to me that there sound like there were different versions of this test throughout time and the U.S.
Yeah, the sit and reach. You would sit, you would put your foot extended, and then you would see how far can you stretch. Like your foot would be on the one end of the box, and then you would try to see if you could get the metal thing all the way to the end, and it would measure your stretching ability.
Nope, don't remember that one. When is it coming back? Did he just say that today? So now it's instituted like next year?
I guess as soon as they can get up to speed, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we still have a month and a half till we're back in school here, so I'm hoping by mid-September they can have the kids doing this. I like you said, Sue. I remember it was a big deal. The gym was all dressed up, and you would be in groups. One group would go run the mile while the other group's doing the sit and reach, while one group's doing the rope. And you would cycle around. It would take like 3 gym classes to get the whole test in.
Oh, that's so funny.
President Trump at his news conference just last hour had all the members of his Presidential Fitness Council there. And a lot of them got up and did their talks about it, and including RFK Jr.
Love it.
Talked about it. Triple H, the wrestler, was there. If you want to play any of that sound, we've got some of that sound.
Can I just, now I was at WrestleMania 2018 when Triple H and Stephanie took on Ronda Rousey. Okay. But I mean, Triple H, he's in great shape. A little bit of that was assisted. Can we just say we don't want kids doing everything Triple H did?
Well, yes, I think we can.
Fair. Let's play Triple H. He's clip 36. This was at the announcement.
For me, since I was 14, this has been such an important part of my life. Health, fitness, sports, nutrition, all of it. I think learning that at a young age sets you up for success in life. And without it, you're at a lesser place for it. So I look forward to the opportunity to do this. I look forward to the opportunity to help make our youth healthy, help get them engaged in sports, and let them learn what it takes to be successful in life. So thank you very much for the honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Go on, Sue.
I was going to say, I just looked this up, to say, what is it that you have to do for it? And it's the curl-ups, pull-ups, push-ups, shuttle run, 1 mile run or walk, and sit and reach. But they have a picture of the patch that used to come out. It's the Presidential Physical Fitness Award. And I remember people would take this thing, that's how old I am, and sew it onto like their jacket. If you won this thing. Oh, yeah. It was
right
a patch.
Right under your letter?
Right. Or not. I mean, if you're just a person who happened to be the 85th percentile or whatever it takes to be that, you would get a patch. Yeah. If you were a really good sit and reacher, you could get one too and not play football or whatever.
All right. Before we get out of here, what was everyone's best mile time? Be honest.
Oh, I have no idea.
Olympic best is 4, so I was probably at 16.
I ran track in high school. Mine was 5:52.
Wow,
that's pretty good. That's really good.
Or middle school, not high school. Middle school.
When I was in my best shape, I was running a 7:15 mile. Now, it should be noted that I wasn't in my best shape until I was in my mid-20s, but still,
that still counts.
Yeah. And now I'm running 8.5, but that was after losing 50 pounds last year. So,
all right.
I applaud this. The country's going in one direction, and we gotta start with the kids, guys. We gotta start with the kids, getting them back in shape and starting them off right. When we come back, Sue's News here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not a bad commute tonight. Now, if you are just leaving the office, westbound 70 looks good out of downtown. Eastbound happens to be a little slow at 270. Westbound is just slow, Highway A out through the 64 split. 6440, moderate volume, Kings Highway out past McCausland. There was an earlier accident on eastbound 40 right at 270, and that was kind of blocking at least one traffic lane. It was on the right-hand side, and it still is. They've got the 2 right lanes blocked, but it looks like at least the tow truck has arrived. Westbound slowing again through Chesterfield Valley and again out at Prospect. Where we do have a delay is the Illinois side. There's road work eastbound on 64. Look for a delay starting at 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, I want to guide you into the help of Susan L. Ward, who's a family practice attorney. I would not make the case that being any kind of an attorney is easy because the law is very complicated. But look, this area of family law is unique because there's so many emotions that are involved. I've been there myself. It's a couple of decades ago. But if you are facing the end of a marriage, first thing that Susan would tell you is get on the horn right away, call, contact them. Don't put that off because that could come back to haunt you. But she has a wealth of experience with a brand new location, by the way, that's near 270 and Manchester in De Pere. They're very proud of the new location, but they get calls all the time from people like you who need help in these situations. It might be where you were already divorced. I know when I moved back here to St. Louis, I had to do new parenting plans. So there's things in the aftermath of divorce, post-divorce issues that come up that Susan can help you with as well. She is absolutely outstanding. You'll feel the energy from Susan if you get her on the phone or you meet her in person. 314-783-9400. The focus on family law, the emphasis on you. Get with Susan L. Ward today at stlfamilylaw.com.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim. And if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
Hey, what's up, flies? This is David Spade. Dana Carvey. Look, I know we never actually left, but I'll just say it. We are back with another season of Fly on the Wall. Every episode, including ones with guests, will now be on video. Every Thursday you'll hear us and see us chatting with big name celebrities. And every Monday you're stuck with just me and Dana. We react to news, what's trending, viral clips. Follow and listen to Fly on the Wall everywhere you get your podcasts.
Built in the heartland for the heartland. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It is Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon, and as we do this time every day, it's time for Sue's News.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
On this day in history, 97 years ago. Now, I just find this interesting. See if you do too. It was in 1928 when the MGM Lion roared for the very first time at the beginning of the studio's first talking movie. The talking movie is 97 years old. Now, the name of the movie was White Shadows in the South Seas, and there was only one word of dialogue in the entire film. How is that a talkie? Okay, but
Captivating.
Here, that word was hello. That was it.
Wow.
We've come a long way, Sue.
Yeah,
We've come a long way.
I mean, if you think, ooh, I'm paying for a talkie. This is exciting. Then you watch the whole thing and there's only one word and it's hello.
I like to be the screenwriter for that one. You know?
I'd like my money back.
That is just nuts to me. Okay, and 54 years ago, but this has some music, Ethan. 54 years ago, in 1971, this song went to number one.
When you're down and trouble and you need.
Now, of course, this is James Taylor's version, but it's a Carole King who wrote it. You've Got a Friend, hit number one. I took sign language, a one sign language class in college, and the final was you had to learn sign language to a song. So we all tried to find the slowest songs known to man. And this is what I did. So I can sign, well, I don't think I could remember it anymore, but You've Got a Friend. And I learned it from Sue Kretschel, who had it the semester before, and she taught me how to do it. But this is what I think of every time I hear this song. It's just awesome. 54 years ago today. It was old when I did it.
If you'd have chosen the Star Spangled Banner, just think
Can
he could
you
still be
imagine?
performing
Fred.
before
And
sporting
you know
events.
that song, like it's just funny to listen to watch people try to do that. That song that's like somewhere. I mean, it was hilarious. It was a race to see who could do the slowest stuff. Although one guy did a Morrissey song, so hats off to Sam.
Well, those are slow and sad.
Well, yeah, but you had to come up with stuff like Armageddon, so he was learning stuff for it.
Heavens knows I'm miserable now.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly right. All right. Chowhound.com has a new list of, this is so disgusting, of canned foods that were popular 50 years ago, but nobody eats anymore. It's a trip down memory lane, but it's also so disgusting. Okay, I will start with this. Canned mac and cheese. Did you know that existed?
No idea. Had
Chef
no idea.
Boyardee had one.
Gross.
Okay. SpaghettiOs. Do you know that's a thing, Ethan? I think
yes,
it still is.
yes.
I remember that.
Very popular.
Hunt's pudding snack packs. These things did not taste right, Fred.
I agree.
Okay, they tasted weird. You probably never had one, Ethan.
I did not.
Did you, Joe?
No, I wouldn't want the people making my ketchup also making my pudding.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That's fine. Number 4 is a canned whole chicken.
Oh.
What?
Oh,
Apparently, Sweet Sue had that. That's still a brand of, I want to say, like chicken broth, but they stuffed a whole chicken in there? Canned whole chicken, people.
They're still doing that somewhere.
What?
I watched a video of someone who taste tested it and said it was awful, but they pulled a full chicken out of a can.
Okay.
That's a big can.
Why? It is a big can. Do that? I assume it's not whole, right? They just pull off a leg and stuff it in there, and I don't get that at all.
I think that's it was like the pieces just came out with the liquid and everything.
Canned brown bread. They do that in the Northeast. What? Why would you just buy it in the store like a person in slices and put it in the toaster? Deviled ham, which I always found to be disgusting, but I'm not a ham person. It's ground up ham, spiced and packed into a can. And Old El Paso at one point sold canned tortillas. They were made with just so soggy and disgusting sounding. They were made with corn, water, and salt, but you let the store tortillas, that's how you would store it, and it would be in a can, and when you needed one, you just pop that open and pop out a tortilla. That is so disgusting. And finally, canned ribs. The brand Armour had one. They were specially cut to work with the can. Then they smoked and with hickory chips for, quote, great flavor. It's disgusting.
We used to have canned tamales.
Yeah, I think that's a thing, too. Are they still exist?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a tamale person.
I'm not a canned person.
I'm not either.
I try to avoid the canned things.
Yes, you should. There is an Irish comedian out, Joe, who has done this. His name is David O'Doherty. And I think he does the best bit on dealing with his parents who are trying to deal with technology. It's so fun. I've made Fred and Ethan watch it. And then I thought, why am I not just putting this on the air? I think Joe might get a kick out of it. I've watched it like 20 times. Okay, listen to this. See if you enjoy it.
Mom and Dad, I'm so lucky to still have you around.
Did you take out the F?
And I want to know every lesson you've picked up along life's way. But whenever I'm about to ask, you say, how do I print a Google? What channel is Netflix on? What's the password to the family? What is that? Okay, 2 things there now, Matt. There's no password, and secondly, you always call it "What is app?" It's WhatsApp. Yes, but David, it should be "What is app?" because it's What's and there's no apostrophe. I know, Mum. I'm sorry. David, what's a meme? Oh, for f***ing sake. Where is the cloud? I don't know. Should we get TikToks? Nope. David, I think I'm stuck on the dark web. What? Show me your computer. See that? You've just turned your color balance down. That's not the dark web. The dark web's something else. David, you think we're idiots? Well, we were able to sort it out this morning. Your father got an email from the bank. Get this, there was a fire and they'd lost all of our personal details. No! Just don't give them the 3 numbers on the back of the code. They'd lost the 3 numbers. David, remember I said my computer is running slow and you told me to close all the windows? It's very warm in the house. I'm coming straight over, Mom.
I just love that. And I've done so much of that. My parents are both gone, but my mother used to call me about the blue button on her computer that didn't exist. So I thought, what? But he is brilliant. And somehow the fact that he puts it to music makes it that much better.
Oh, it sure does. And I mean, for my parents and for my in-laws, if anything's wrong with the cable, with Alexa, with the phones, I get called over. Nothing can be told over the phone. I literally have to get in the car and drive over and show everything. Like my parents today, they said, hey, I can't get the station on the TV anymore. It's like, yeah, you got to do this. And this every time, I'm dropping my son off to come to work and I have to download a new app or uninstall an app on their TV. It's nonstop.
It's just how it is. It's just how it is. Okay. I was in Deerbergs yesterday and I already saw Halloween stuff for sale. Has anybody else seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I got you beat.
What?
I saw Christmas stuff at Hobby Lobby.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They skip Halloween. They skip Thanksgiving. And
Halloween is there.
Oh,
Halloween is there. Thanksgiving's there. And there is a wall of Christmas decorations, wreaths, just in case you're ready to decorate the house today.
I actually thought when I saw the Halloween stuff, I went into like a time warp and I thought, wait a minute. Oh, they're just getting rid of this from last. No, Sue. This is current. They have pulled out new stuff.
I was at, is it Bed Bath & Beyond or another store that sells a lot of candles?
Probably.
Over the weekend. And it was all Halloween stuff.
That's
Halloween music,
yeah,
all sorts of ice cream candles and all sorts of wild stuff.
Well,
when I worked at that very store, Bed Bath & Beyond, before they went out of business, we would have the dorm stuff's already gone. It's Halloween stuff in the seasonal.
Wow, that's nuts. Okay, remember Ultra Skelly from last year, that huge giant skeleton that they had and everybody put in their yards?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Home Depot is going to be selling a new version this year, which is, the original one is Skelly. This is Ultra Skelly, which is an app-controlled version that allows you to, quote, oversee its animatronic elements, like moving its mouth. It can also be equipped with pre-recorded dialogue. Fred,
Holy
I want
cow.
you to have one of these.
Oh, yeah.
And you should say, I just want Fred recorded Ultra Skelly. You could have a business recording stuff for people. It can also be equipped with recordings by yourself if you want it, or the pre-recorded. They can be up to 30 seconds long. But this Skelly, the Ultra Skelly, is only 6.5 feet tall. Now, part of my walk, I walk by a house that never took theirs down.
Yes.
The giant one.
Yes.
Do you see these? And they decorated it for Christmas. They decorated it for baseball season.
Oh my gosh.
And they'll just rip everything off
That's
for the
insane.
actual Halloween, I think. And they'll do it for that as well. But the thing's huge, Fred. You're not going to want to take it down, right?
No, you're right.
But listen, if somebody buys an Ultra Skelly, will someone call in here and get Fred to record something? I think that would be beyond
great
awesome.
idea. Great idea.
What are you going to say, Fred? Like, eek? What's your thing? Spooky.
I don't know. How about brought to you by Sue?
That's
okay. And finally, in Sue's news, we have today's random fact. The American flag Neil Armstrong planted on the moon in 1969 was knocked over by the engine blast as soon as they lifted off to leave. So 5 more U.S. flags have been planted on the moon since then, and NASA believes all of them are still standing. But the problem is they are now completely white. They've been just bleached by the sun.
Oh.
So we have multiple flags up there, but they're all bleached white.
Seems like a pretty disrespectful way to treat the flag.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
And that's it for Sue's News.
Thank you, Sue. When we come back, we talk with Michael Boyd. here on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Chad Robinson with Your Money Now. Amazon shares slid more than 2% in extended trading after reporting second quarter results that exceeded expectations. The company gave light income guidance for the current period. Amazon's second quarter sales grew 13% year over year. Reddit reporting second quarter earnings today that beat on sales and guidance. Sales of the popular app grew 78% year over year in the second quarter and was 17% above consensus estimates. Shares are currently up 14% in after-hours trading. Shares of Roblox soared 16% after the company reported second quarter revenue that outlasted expectations. The gaming platform saw $1.44 billion in net bookings, an increase of 51%. Stocks were lower on Wall Street, with Dow losing more than 330 points and the Nasdaq off by 7. Crude oil futures for September remain above $69 a barrel. That's Your Money Now.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
If you are getting closer to retirement, and we all are, obviously, but the closer you get, the more you start to think, wait a minute, do I know how to work the system to help me? Because a lot of people get help with retirement. And if you're a person who really doesn't know how the system works, but you've saved and you think, man, I've got to get serious about this, you cannot wing it when it comes to retirement, and you really need a written plan in place. This is why I'd like the Financial and Tax Architects Group, because, well, not only have they helped people throughout the St. Louis area retire with confidence, but one of the ways they do this is they put on a class called Retirement Planning 101, and they have you come in there and learn some things. Here's how the things work for retirement. Here's how to maximize your income. Here's how taxes work. And then once you've learned it, you feel like you've got a handle on it. If you want to work with them, they will work out a plan specifically for you and your situation. So call today and get in a class, 314-888-5101 or FTA-RIA.com, and take that first step.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need, while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 4:33. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. Bold takes, real talk, no apologies. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis conservative.
Hey, welcome back. Show Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon here on 97.1 FM Talk. By the way, we are just 26 minutes away from the trade deadline in Major League Baseball. Scott Warmann will be here at 5:04 to wrap up the deadline deals and talk about this last stretch of the season for the Cardinals. But with us right now, we are joined by Michael Boyd. He is an aviation analyst and president of the Boyd Group International. Michael, welcome to the show.
Joe, thank you very much. Honored to be here.
I love flying. I started the show by saying this. I love flying. I love vacations. And if I'm on a plane, that most likely means I'm on my way to vacation. But I have noticed turbulence more common than maybe 10 years ago. And we saw this issue actually make a plane land early in Minneapolis. What can you tell us about turbulence in 2025?
Well, we don't have good statistics going back 10 years. Have people babbling about it. It might be global warming or it might be who knows what. That doesn't make any difference. We have it. 26 people, going to the hospital. In this day and age, whatever it is, when you're sitting in an airplane, you better have your seatbelt fastened. The days of having stand-up bars and things like that, you don't want to do that. If you have to go to the restroom, go and get back quick. But right now today, it's just not advisable to be wandering around the cabin of an airplane flying through the sky. That's all there is to it.
You look at, let's just look at the country instead of the world. Look at United States of America. Are there parts of the country where it's always going to be turbulent regardless of what the system is? Or is this all reliant on, weather patterns?
Well, it's weather patterns, but it's also, mountain waves. When you fly over the Rocky Mountains, there have been airplanes, that historically have literally lost engines. I mean, off of the airplane. It's been the weather's been so bad. Look, back in the 60s, a big Boeing 707 took off from Tokyo, flew over Mount, Fujiyama, and it got torn to pieces in the sky. So we're dealing with nature. Nature always isn't like we like it to be. So the bottom line is you get on the airplane, they say, fasten the seatbelt, fasten it low and tight.
Michael, I've always heard that, turbulence for a pilot is like hitting a pothole as a driver. Is that still the case?
Well, sure. And pilots, try to handle the airplane through that, but it's very difficult to do when you don't know what this wind aberration really is doing. But, keep in mind, the pilots are the best we've got in the world here in the United States, but nobody can really deal with this. So what we're saying about here, again, those 26 people, I'm sorry about that. And it could have been a lot of those were crew members. But the bottom line of it is it's just not a good idea when you get on an airplane, go through the sky, sit down and shut up.
Now, this might sound like a ridiculous question, but I'm asking this purely as someone who loves to, go sit down, put my headphones in and zone out on an airplane. Is there any way that planes could be made to handle turbulence to the point where it's not as jarring in the cabin?
Well, that's kind of what they said about the Titanic. When we make a boat that won't sink, it's about the same thing.
All right. I was just wondering. So you think, let's look, it's 2025, 2030, 2035. I mean, do you think it's possible that turbulence gets worse, or what we're seeing today is the new normal?
Well, I would suspect today is a new normal only because we know it's there. Whether it'll get worse or whether it is worse, I can't pass on that. But we do know it's there. That's all we really need to know. I don't know if it's going to get any worse or any better, but the fact is it can happen. So, again, airplane cabins are not for wandering around. They're not for going to the lounge. They're not for standing up and stand-up bars going across the Atlantic.
Now, this, again, might sound ridiculous to an expert like you. I am not an expert. We see planes, more and more people getting crammed on these airplanes. Does that play into this at all?
No, not really. But you get about, and keep in mind, the average airplane seat width in America actually has gone up in the last 30 years, not less. But the fact of the matter is you do have a lot of people in there. Leg room is, if you're a paraplegic, you're fine. But the leg room is really bad. But the fact of it, in many cases, but the fact is the number of people on the airplane is de minimis in terms of what turbulence will do to the airplane.
Now, Michael, this is going on, but we're also seeing some leniency at TSA checkpoints. Last time I went to fly, I didn't have to untie my shoes. Is that the right direction for safety of the skies again in 2025?
It is, because most of what's been done, well, at the TSA since it was founded, is eyewash. Taking off your shoes has not done anything, because putting it in a bin, you're not going to find explosives in that generally now. Things like that, or the water bottles. We've been reacting to what happened. I'm hoping this NOM is going to do something about it, because it's not the screening process at the airport where the threat is, and that's not where 9/11 came from. It was the back door to the airports, and I don't think our airports anywhere have really strong security programs to avoid people from getting through.
So the issue is not the TSA checkpoints that we all see. It's what we're not seeing that's the big problem.
Absolutely, it's everybody working in an airport should be security trained. They're not. And we need to have programs in place that can anticipate what a terrorist might do to the HVAC system, or what a terrorist might do to the plumbing system, or terrorist might do to the air cargo system. We don't have any of that going on right now, and we need to put it in place, and airports have to get more involved rather than just following whatever the TSA says.
You know, Michael, a few weeks ago, we heard of a plane that had to drop quickly because of another plane that was not called in. They had no idea was in the sky. What is the reason for stuff like that? We heard it happen a few days later in over Las Vegas. How does something like that happen in a high technology era that we're living in?
Well, the point is, in the last 20 years, our air traffic control system has just fallen way behind because it's been ignored. Unfortunately, they've been hiring air traffic controllers based upon things other than the ability, and that doesn't mean the people behind those screens are all, wrong people to be there, but it's not been a focus of safety. And we could have done that. We testified to Congress 30 years ago on this, and nothing's been done. It's one of those things that's out of sight, out of mind. It's like security. Hey, we haven't had a 9/11 event in, 25 years, so we must be doing it right. That doesn't work that way.
But we're talking to people. I mean, I'm sure there's people in this audience that will be on a plane tomorrow, be on the plane this weekend. I mean, should they feel safe that even with those issues in traffic control, that the pilots of your commercial airlines are prepared to deal with something like that, as the pilots were in these two instances?
And the last 20 before that, they were ready. So, pilots in America, we talk about, the miracle on the Hudson, where a guy put an airplane on the Hudson and nobody barely got wet. We have 30 or 40,000 pilots in the United States of America, more than that, 100,000 pilots in the U.S. air transportation system that could have done exactly the same thing. It's that well qualified.
And then you have the issue over in Washington, D.C., and we're hearing these hearings are happening where you had the Army helicopter and an airplane. Again, is this something that people should be fearing when they get into an airplane?
Not now, because of the event. They're going to change things, and that's the problem we have. We don't change things until someone dies, but you shouldn't have had helicopters that close to an approach, number one. Number two, now they're saying, well, the altimeters might have been different. Well, that's not good enough. But I think going forward, that's what we have when we have calamities like this. We learn from them, and we can avoid that one happening again.
Now, Michael, I am sorry. I'm just going to let the audience know this. I did not give Michael an idea that I was going to ask this question. So, Michael, if it's off the radar, just let me know. But 16 years ago, we had 3407 in my backyard. And I know it's beautiful summer day now, but winter is coming. Are airplanes in America safe in the winter? Do we have the right precautions against ice and things like that?
We do. The problem is we have things like pilot errors. As long as we insist upon putting humans to build airplanes and fly them, there's going to be mistakes made. But we learn from that. The problem is with one of those events, they put in things that don't make any sense, like a 1,500-hour rule for pilots to be trained. There is no curriculum in that. They could be sitting in front of a TV set for all we know. So we should have Congress out of it. But, training pilots, for example, is an issue of skills, not necessarily hours. But boy, if you dare say you have a problem with a 1,500-hour rule, you're going to get strung up.
So that was Michael, that was my very next question. This 1,500 rule, that's I'm broadcasting in Buffalo, and that is a big issue. Is no one wants to see this tinkered with. You're saying that it's all for show. It's not. It's not as important as people are playing it up.
No, it isn't. But if that had been in force 10 years before that event in Buffalo, it wouldn't have solved that crash. It wouldn't have avoided that crash. It would have nothing to do with the people in the cockpit. Those mistakes that were made there. So the 1,500-hour rule is a giant placebo, but it's a sacred placebo that our new FAA administrator, who is a highly qualified person, dared question whether that's enough training or the right kind of training. And you got people in Congress that basically wanted to take him out and shoot him.
Michael Boyd, great stuff, man. Really appreciate the conversation.
My pleasure, sir. You have a good day.
Thanks, you too. That is Michael Boyd. He is an aviation analyst and president of the Boyd Group International. And let me tell you guys, after talking to him, I feel very comfortable getting on an airplane. I'll be on one in about a month to see my beloved Hokies in Atlanta. And that's the kind of reassuring talk that I think more people need is what Michael Boyd, he knows it. He knows his stuff. He knows aviation, and just a calm, a calm message, a calming tone. Everything is fine. We have the skilled pilots. I'm going to take this interview and put it on my phone so I can listen to it as the plane's taking off, because that's the assurance I think we need, not the scare tactics that we get way too often out of DC. Thanks again, Michael. Really, really appreciate it. When we come back, we will talk more MLB trade deadline, 15 minutes until the deadline. And don't forget, at 5:04, Scott Warmann from FanDuel Sports Midwest will join us to break down not only the deadline deals and what that means for your St. Louis Cardinals, but what we should expect from these last 2 months of the 2025 MLB season. It's Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We have a little bit of volume out there tonight, but it's not bad. In fact, most of it happens to be on the Illinois side. There's road work eastbound on 64, and it's slowing traffic between 157 and 159. Downtown east and westbound 44 are jammed, headed for the Poplar. Heavy traffic on southbound 55, headed for Bates. We've got westbound 6440 lined up, approaching Kings Highway out past McCausland. And there is some volume eastbound 170 through Big Bend, then moderate volume through Chesterfield Valley and at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Now 70 out west is slow, approaching Highway A out through, looks like Wentzville. Southbound 270 slow at 70. Northbound 170 is slowing at 70. And 44 has more volume than usual tonight. And it looks like it's around Bowles to just past 141. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. This summer, while you stay cool, our first responders stay on the front lines. The St. Louis First Responder Canteen is there to keep them hydrated and supported. Find out how you can help by visiting 971talk.com/talkinaction.
What is the housing market like right now? Well, most people know that, homes tend to go relatively quickly because of supply and demand. But I want to talk about the Gelman team and the approach that they have helping you achieve your real estate goals, because it is tricky. It's not a situation where just because you have a house and there's a lot of potential buyers out there that you're going to get above asking price automatically. Now, you might if you do things the right way and depending on your location. But Mark and Neil and the team that they have, and I always emphasize the team, because when I sold a house and bought a house with them, we had Stacy that was on the sell side. My friend Matt Lamb, he's a Packers fan, so we got real close helping me find the home that I'm in right now. They have an awesome team of professionals here in St. Louis. They also have a great tool on their website that you can use for free. There's a banner that says, how much is your home really worth? You click on that, you fill out the information. It's going to give you a pretty accurate price of what you might list it with. And if you want the Gelmans to take it to the next step, they're there for you here in St. Louis. The website is fantastic, thegelmanteam.com. The phone number, 314-336-1991. Tell them that I sent you along. Mark and Neil and the whole team, thegelmanteam.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Triton Exteriors. Not sure if you've noticed, but the storms seem to be especially bad this spring. If you had James Hardy Smart Siding, you wouldn't have to worry about it. It's not going to be damaged like in the 314-day storm. So we do roofing, siding, gutters, fences. We're always going to be the middle bid. We're never going to cut corners. We're never going to take advantage of you. Call 314-717-1159 or triton-stl.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired? Do you have your personalized income plan in place? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than owning the market, and how in 39 years we have never lost a penny of our clients' money?
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton, Tuesday, August 5th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
Built on backbone, not buzzwords. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back. It is Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon here on 97.1 FM Talk on this Thursday. Hope everyone is enjoying their day. Maybe it's the end of the workday for you and you're heading home. Whatever it is you are doing, we're happy to have you here. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the deadline at right after the 5 o'clock news here. The Cardinals so far have made, I believe, and Ethan can correct me, just 2 moves. And they were one yesterday and one earlier today, right? Ethan, am I correct on that?
They made 2 moves yesterday.
They were both yesterday.
Yeah, they traded Ryan Helsley and Steven Matz. Still waiting. Still wouldn't surprise me. We have about 9 minutes here remaining until the trade deadline. It would not surprise me if the Cardinals still end up moving on from Phil Maton. In fact, I'd be really surprised if they don't. So, there's still trades going on. I mean, just 45 seconds ago, a new trade being released out by all the writers. So, it goes down to the wire, and sometimes even after the deadline, because some of these trades, they get processed, but the information doesn't get released to the public until a few minutes after. So keep your eyes peeled if you're, a baseball fan, Cardinals fan, because you never know what could happen here in these next few minutes.
That's right. All eyes on the deadline. And like I said, after the top of the hour news, we'll be talking about it. Speaking of sports, I've got to say this. We've got just a few minutes here. You know what really bothers me is everyone saying, quote, football is back. No, it's not. No, it's not. Preseason football, I think, is the biggest tease of the year. Like everyone, you've got all these people, football's back tonight, the Hall of Fame game. Really? What? The starters get 2 snaps?
If that.
Yeah. I mean, most teams aren't even going to play their starters in this Hall of Fame game. I hate it. I hate the preseason. I wish it would go down to just 1 game. Because every time I see Josh Allen take the field, it's 1 slip up away from the season being over.
It's interesting. The Hall of Fame game, I feel like I've never heard really anything good about the Hall of Fame game. I know that they've done some renovations in Canton, but people used to talk terribly about that facility. But yeah, I agree. What I'm curious of is with the preseason getting shorter and seeming like it's going to continue to get shorter, will it emphasize those preseason games anymore now because there's not as much time for your guys to get ready? These last couple of years, Joe, I don't know if you've seen this necessarily in the Bills, but the quarterback play in week 1 and even week 2 has been not good the first couple weeks of the year. And I'm wondering if that's because these guys don't have enough time to really get into the rhythm, get into the routine of being back at full speed play for 4 quarters. So I wonder if teams will adjust or if they'll just kind of bite that bullet and live with that, knowing that you don't want to deal with any injuries in the preseason.
Yeah, that's a great question. And obviously, not overly a bad issue since 21 with Josh Allen. But yeah, I'm all for, Ethan, a one actual preseason game. And why don't you put it on the clubs to have a scrimmage? Bring other clubs in. The Bills did this with the Steelers a few years ago. Bring clubs into camp, have it in that kind of atmosphere so you can get the reps in against people who aren't your teammates. But also, I think you play a 15-minute quarter, a 15-minute scrimmage against another team instead of just the game where the pads are going full and you've got, some teams are playing their starters, other teams are playing the guy that's just hoping to get on, especially in that third preseason game. It makes for a mess, man. It makes for a mess.
We have some breaking news here on 97.1. Some breaking sports news on 97.1. The St. Louis Cardinals have traded relief pitcher Phil Maton to the Texas Rangers. They're receiving 2 minor league prospects in return. That is according to Katie Wu. So another move being made right here at the deadline, just minutes away. So we'll get more information, I'm sure, from Scott Warmann at the top of the 5 o'clock hour here in just a few minutes on some of these prospects.
And credit to Ethan, because a minute ago he said that Maton was going to get traded. We're back after this.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Yeah, we've got some volume downtown. If you are a 44 driver, either in or out of downtown, there's some slow-moving traffic either side of the Poplar Street Bridge. Southbound 55 slowing in the construction zone south of Arsenal, and that goes down really through Bates. But we also have a slow go headed for Highway M tonight. And to the south of there's some moderate volume, too, as you head on down toward Peevely. So 55, definitely some slow pockets. We have a jam on westbound Highway 30, west of 141, right at Gravois Bluffs. It could just be the light, but it's a slow go. And an accident reported eastbound 44 just past Lindbergh, westbound 44, slowing from about Bowles on out through 141. Westbound 40 is slow go. Now, this is Kings Highway out through McCausland. We had an eastbound accident near the inner belt that's caused delays on southbound 170. And westbound traffic on 70 and 64 out west, just a little slow at their merge. By the way, we look fine on the bridges downtown if you're headed into Illinois. But now an accident reported on eastbound 64 in the construction zone. So slow traffic 255 through 159. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101, or visit fta-ria.com and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
Accidents can happen in the blink of an eye, especially in a busy city like St. Louis. Whether you're a rideshare driver or passenger, injuries can leave you feeling lost, confused, and unsure of where to turn. At Kaufman Townsley, we understand. We're from here. We live in St. Louis, and we know what it takes to fight for the rights of our neighbors. We're here to help you through the difficult time with the experience and care you deserve. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
Visit STS Armory at their new location on Petroff Plaza in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. A proud family-owned and operated local firearms store and training center. Stop by the shop or call to sign up for classes. 618-931-GUNS. STS-Armory.com.
Your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it. Hi, I'm Gloria Liu, broker owner at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And for over 20 years, I've been getting my home sellers the most money for their home and selling faster than the average agent. So when you're ready to sell your home or have questions, call me.
For years now, I've been telling you about my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, and why you should call. Hey, it's Mark Cox. Fact is, when I needed to sell my home, my only call was to Gloria Liu, and she delivered. Gloria exceeded our expectations, and that's why I strongly recommend you call, especially in this shifting market. No matter what happens, you're guaranteed to sell your home at 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay the difference. Call today. Get an upfront written guarantee and start packing. Sell with certainty and for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. Call 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
KFTK FM Florissant. An Odyssey station.
Concern about famine. I'm Tom Graham, Fox News. President Trump sending a delegation to Gaza to survey the Palestinian people amid widespread starvation in the war-torn Strip.
President Trump breaks with Benjamin Netanyahu on the issue of starvation in Gaza. Netanyahu has said there is none. President Trump has said he has seen pictures of starving children there. So to settle this, the president is going to send his own people into the Gaza Strip. He's also breaking with European allies who plan to recognize a Palestinian state in Gaza because he thinks that is giving Hamas terrorists exactly what they have wanted all along since the planning stages of the October 7th attack. The president himself wrote the fastest way to end the humanitarian crises in Gaza is for Hamas to surrender and release the hostages.
Fox's Peter Ducey. President Trump has given nations around the globe till August 1st, tomorrow, to strike a trade deal with the U.S. or face steep tariffs. The White House has inked several new deals ahead of that deadline. Fox's Lauren Simonetti.
Let's start with South Korea. 15% tariff rate. Plus, Trump says $350 billion for investments owned and controlled by the United States and selected by myself as president. Additionally, South Korea will purchase $100 billion of LNG or other energy products. Energy is front and center also in the deal with Pakistan. While the tariff rate on goods has not been announced, the president says Pakistan and the U.S. will work together on developing their massive oil reserves. We are in the process of choosing the oil company that will lead this partnership. Brazil. Trump slapped a 50% tariff on many Brazilian goods. They go into effect August 6th. Trump says he's tariffing Brazil, a country we have a surplus with, to fight a witch hunt against former President Bolsonaro.
The president will sign an executive order to impose new tariff rates starting at midnight. Wrestling icon Hulk Hogan died of a heart attack last week. The medical examiner out with a report today. America's listening to Fox News.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Your child is 18, and suddenly you no longer have legal access to their medical info, even in an emergency. No health decisions, no financial help, nothing, unless you plan ahead. That's why Trust and Will created the Young Adult Plan. It includes HIPAA authorization, healthcare directives, and power of attorney. Everything your child needs to stay protected and stay connected. Go to trustandwill.com and get your Young Adult Plan for just $69, because turning 18 shouldn't mean cutting parents out of the picture. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will. Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Still unsettled skies, a mix of clouds and sunshine going through the afternoon, and there will be a couple of scattered showers. 82 for the high. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy, 64. A top 10 weather day on Friday. Lots of sunshine, wonderful. Low humidity, 79. Weekend is spectacular. Saturday, sunny near 80, so mainly in the 70s. Sunday, sunny and 82. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hello, welcome back. This is Joe Beamer. Mark is taking some personal time off, but we expect him back soon. In the meantime, you know I'm happy to be with you in this final hour, and the deadline has hit. We are 4 minutes post-deadline, and to talk about the deadline and beyond is Scott Warmann from FanDuel Sports Midwest. Scott, good afternoon.
Joe, great to meet you, man. Welcome to St. Louis. I understand you're all geeked up about your Mets getting Ryan Helsley, huh?
I'm very happy about the bullpen. Now, if they could just come back to New York tomorrow and actually have the bats working, then we might have a complete team.
Well, it takes a little bit of time, but I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a top of the order that you have there in New York. But I'll tell you what the San Diego Padres did today, kind of getting off the Cardinal thing, acquiring a couple of big bats, or at least one big bat from Baltimore. I think the Padres and a couple of teams are definitely going for it. It's really been an interesting day as trade deadline officially ended just a couple of minutes ago.
I know the Padres are bulking up, and it just reminds me of the hell I went through in the 2022 Wild Card Series. But Scott, right before we went to a break, we heard about Phil Maton. Now, we all knew that it was 99% sure that he was going to get traded, and it looks like he did right before the market closed.
Yeah, Maton is apparently going to the Texas Rangers for a couple of prospects, and what those prospects are, it hasn't been released as of yet. The Cardinals haven't made it official, but all reports from national writers and insiders are saying that Maton is being moved. And Maton, actually, Joe, he didn't even travel with the ball club to San Diego. He, along with Steven Matz, of course, the Matz trade to Boston was made after the game last night around 11 or so Central Time. So those guys pretty much were anticipating that they were going to be dealt before this 5 o'clock trade deadline. And sure enough, Maton is the one to go. So the guys that had expiring contracts out of the bullpen is pretty much the route the Cardinals took to try to add or beef up, if you will, their prospect pool down in the minor leagues.
Hey, Scotty, Ethan here. You look at now, as Joe mentioned a moment ago, the deadline coming and going now. The Cardinals bringing in a lot of low-level prospects in the Helsley deal. They get Blaze Jordan back from Boston for Steven Matz. Not sure who the prospects are here in this Phil Maton deal. I know it's hard to really get a gauge as to what these prospects will be, but up to this point, it sounds like from nationally, everything that the Cardinals have got back, they feel pretty good about, and a lot of people like the potential of some of these young guys.
Yeah, I'm the same with you, Ethan. I read about some of these prospects that the Cardinals have acquired, and some of those guys that follow it on a day-to-day basis have actually given the Cardinals some high marks. In fact, you think about the trade late last night, guys, from Steven Matz going to Boston, and the Cardinals acquiring first baseman, third baseman Blaze Jordan. Well, that's a guy that the soon-to-be president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, actually drafted when he was with the Red Sox organization just 5 years ago. So obviously there is some familiarity, and obviously Chaim Bloom probably is appealed by someone like that. And, obviously it tells me, at least, Ethan and Joe, is the fact that, maybe Chaim, and we'll find out here eventually if Chaim did have some say-so in working with current president of baseball operations, Sean Mozeliak, on some of these deals, because obviously now the Cardinals are looking towards the future instead of the here and now. So you would imagine that that's the case, that Chaim obviously might have had some guys on the list from each team that he was kind of interested in. And so that's hence why the deals have been made. It's kind of an interesting situation when you think about the Cardinals. They trade 3 relievers, and they don't get any MLB players per se back in this deal for right now. So now the Cardinals have to go out and they have to bring back 3 players from their minor leagues. And Joe, just to let you, and I know Ethan knows this, and other Cardinal fans, I mean, the Cardinals have just a plethora of injuries within their minor league system as far as pitching is concerned. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty as far as, what they can bring up. In fact, they had a game today, the Memphis Redbirds did. That's the Cardinals AAA team. And there were several names, if you will, that have played up with the Cardinals professionally that didn't even get in today's game for the Memphis Redbirds, which you would presume that at least a couple of those guys, or three of them at least, will be coming up. But I think the other intriguing part is, how is this going to play out in the last 2 months of the season? You kind of hope that there isn't a serious injury, especially to your starting rotation, because I don't know where the Cardinals actually return or go to try to fill the bill. God forbid somebody gets injured in the last couple of months of the season.
Scott, looking at the team, I mean, as you mentioned, they're going to have to dip down to the minor leagues. But is there anyone that you're surprised is still on the team post deadline?
Honestly, Joe, not really. There was some chatter about maybe Nolan Arenado being back on the list of trades, but I think the thing with Arenado is, first of all, he has the no trade clause, and as we saw during the offseason, there was actually a trade between the Cardinals and the Astros, and he nixed the deal because he has that no trade clause in his contract. The other part of it that's kind of tricky, if you're thinking about trading Arenado, is he has a very sizable contract. And so the other nuance to that whole thing is, how much do you have to eat? How much are you willing to eat of that contract when you're trying to move a guy like Arenado? So I know that was a name that came up. I know several other names that came up, like Lars Nootbaar, who's down in Springfield AA, rehabbing after his injury. There's also Brendan Donovan's name that was bantied about. But to be honest with you, for me personally, I'm not really surprised that they didn't make a deal. I think if you dealt a guy, especially like a Brendan Donovan, if you're going to deal a guy like that, who's maybe the heart and soul of this team, along with Wilson Contreras, I mean, you're going to have to get a whole heck of a lot for the Cardinals to steer away from a guy like Brendan Donovan, who was your all-star this year in the Midsummer Classic. So to be honest with you, not really. Seeing the guys that were, their tenure was up as far as their contracts were concerned, that's something that didn't surprise me. And also, and I know Ethan's down in the locker room, and he's probably heard this as well, as, Ryan Helsley's always kept an open the option that, this is where he's been. He's only known the Cardinal organization throughout his entire life, going through the minors up to, many years here in St. Louis, that, there could be the realm of possibility, Joe, that he could come back after this year, finishing off at the Mets and wherever their season lines up, that he could come back as a St. Louis Cardinal again. So, but again, you also have to look at it from the situation that you have a different leader running the organization now in Chaim Bloom instead of John Mozeliak. But I think that option still is there, obviously, from what Helsley said over the last week or so.
Katie Wu reporting that the Cardinals receiving back in exchange for Phil Maton a couple of prospects. Mason Molina is a left-handed pitcher currently in high A for Texas, 6'2", 230 pounds. He was a 7th-round pick by the Brewers in 2024. And then Skylar Hayes, he's in AAA, a right-handed pitcher that was drafted in the 4th round by the Rangers in 2023. So that as well as some international money in exchange. So those are the pieces in the Phil Maton deal. So now we know all the pieces that the Cardinals have received back from the different teams that they traded for. So as far as continuing on with this conversation, I know that the expectation, right, was that these three were going to be the three that were traded, Scott. I'm curious, there had been some names that had been kind of floated around. Someone out there had mentioned that perhaps there was some interest in Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, Alec Burleson. I know you just talked about that a little bit. How much do you think that John Mozeliak and Chaim Bloom in the transition in leadership had to play into specifically only guys on expiring contracts being the ones that were traded? And as a result, with Chaim Bloom taking over here in the offseason, could you see the Cardinals using some of the redundancies that they have on the offseason trade market and maybe trying to bring in some pieces that they need?
Yeah, I think, Ethan, and I mentioned this, I was on a station down in Springfield, Missouri earlier today, and we had this very same discussion. And again, this is a hunch. It's not like I've sat back and had a long conversation with Chaim Bloom or anything. And, I don't even think Chaim knows once he takes things over. Yes, looking at what we have seen with these trades, do I think that there is conversation, obviously, between the current president of baseball operations and the new president of baseball operations after the season? When you look at some of the parts that the Cardinals have brought back in some of these deals, yes. Is there going to be a different route of how things are handled? I truly believe, and again, this is just a hunch, I think we're going to see a very interesting and active off season. I think Chaim's definitely putting his imprint on what you're seeing, not only from what we have seen the Cardinals acquire in these trades that they've made, the three of them over the last couple of days, but also look back a couple of weeks ago, Ethan, when we're talking about the MLB draft. The Cardinals picked 12 pitchers, and all of them are guys that try to throw the ball through a brick wall. Where you even look through the system, the Cardinals have guys that are pitch to contact. You even look at some guys that they've drafted as everyday players, and it's about power. Look at Blaze Jordan. Look at Jesus Baez, who they acquired. He's got power. So it looks like you're starting to see kind of the route, if you will, of what Chaim Bloom is looking to add to this organization, what he wants out of the St. Louis Cardinals as the head of the operation. He wants to get more power in the lineup, and he wants more power pitching instead of the pitch to contact. At least that's how I see it, what we've seen in the trade deadline, and of course, what we saw a couple of weeks ago in the MLB amateur draft as well.
With that in mind, this is the second sell-off in 3 years for the St. Louis Cardinals. Is it realistic to think a year from now we'll be talking about a team that's buying and making a run for the playoffs?
A tough question. I don't think the odds are very high. I think it all, Joe, depends, honestly, on what happens in the offseason. And while most people are like, no, there's no way, and the percentages are probably not, you're a couple, 2-3 years away with this organization. Again, seeing what Chaim wants to do in the next 1 or 2 off seasons. But the only reason I say that with just a small trepidation is just for the fact that I don't think, Joe, you'd ask most people before the season and you saw what the Cardinals did basically to the first half of the year. I don't think anybody would have thought the Cardinals would have been at their precipice at 9 games above 500. So obviously there is some talent there, and they do have some pieces to the puzzle, is trying to figure that whole thing out from a pitching standpoint, but from an everyday lineup situation. And now we'll see what the Cardinals want to do and see if they want to, try to, spend some money, especially on pitching, to try to bolster that once you get into the 2026 season. But, short answer for that, Joe, is I don't think the percentages are very high that they become buyers again next year. But let's wait and see how things play out, because there's so much to be had, especially in this offseason. I think one of the things besides a player acquisition standpoint is, if you try to get your 26 to 40 man roster, is a lot of people got to sit back and say, hey, does Chaim Bloom want to bring in his own guy as a manager, or do you bring back Ollie Marmol, who I think has proven him to a lot of people out there that, hey, you know what? A lot of people didn't expect, as I mentioned, what this ball club did in the first half of the season. Do you give Ollie another chance with a different guy in charge of the organization? So there's just so many balls up in the air that you got to juggle to see what happens, especially in this offseason.
I'm a very optimistic person, Scott. And I know we're talking, a few years down the road, but I mean, realistically, the Cardinals are 5.5 games out with 2 months left. I mean, what do you think that you're going to see out of this team? What's there to watch for in these final 2 months?
Right now, it's not very hopeful. I mean, when you just got shut out 2 days in a row by the Marlins, early this year or this month, he got shut out 2 days in a row by the Pirates. That to me, as you kind of felt, you looked at the numbers, and I said this, well, you had a great start to the season. Back of my mind is like, look at the back of the baseball cards, or just look up some of the numbers of some of these pitchers in the second half, and we're seeing it, unfortunately, with Sonny Gray, who's their ace. He's really struggling here to start the second half of the season, but that's kind of been his MO, especially in the month of July. But for this team that has some guys that can really hit, not to see them or to see them actually do what they're doing with the lack of offense here lately. That's the one that concerns me. So for me, my hope is that the Cardinals kind of, after they get this whole trade deadline behind them and just start forging ahead, is to play the baseball that we saw earlier this year, where they were, kind of what I'd say as an older guy, Joe, is, playing 80s whitey ball type of baseball, where they weren't hitting a lot of home runs, but they're running the bases well, playing great defense behind their pitching. And it was really, I thought, some exciting baseball that we got to see through the first half of the season.
Are you, I went to the football game at Bristol Motor Speedway in 2016, saw my beloved Hokies lose to the Tennessee Volunteers. Are you looking forward to this Atlanta-Cincinnati game at Bristol Motor Speedway? You think it's going to be cool?
I think it's going to be really interesting to see, because since you've been there, I haven't been there, but I know that it is a massive stadium. Just to see the dynamics from that alone is going to be really intriguing to me. I'm really kind of excited about this. I'm glad that Major League Baseball is doing this. We saw the Field of Dreams games, a couple of years in a row, and the Cardinals and Giants were down at Rickwood in Birmingham. I'll tell you a real quick story, Joe, is I worked for as Ethan knows, I worked for the Missouri Valley Conference, and a year ago in 2024, we did the baseball tournament in Evansville, Indiana, and they have one of the third oldest baseball stadium in all of our nation. It's called Bosse Field. And there is conversation about them having a game at that Bosse Field. Obviously, an older stadium, there's upgrades that need to be made, what have you. But I think this is really cool, because I had an opportunity when I had some downtime to go over to that stadium. And it's kind of like if you go to Wrigley or Fenway, there's just an aura about some of these old stadiums. And I'm sure the same way, and in fact, talking to guys like John Rooney and Ricky Horton, just the aura that they had in being at Rickwood. And I'm sure there's the same thing, even though I would imagine if you're broadcasting the game, you're going to be way high up away from the ballpark or at Bristol Speedway, I should say, and trying to catch the ballpark. But yes, I think it's going to be really intriguing. I'm fascinated by all that stuff when you look at a neutral site, if you will, and something a little interesting. It's kind of like if you look at it and try and correlate it to hockey, where hockey started doing the stadium games and the Winter Classics. And I think it kind of has that little feel to it, if you will, kind of like what the NHL did.
Well, you might not be surprised. I was at the very first Winter Classic here in Buffalo. Scott, great talking with you, man.
All right, buddy. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Scott Warmann, he is the FanDuel Sports Midwest studio host for your St. Louis Cardinals. We'll be back after this.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We have had some issues on the roads tonight, and one of those happened to be a vehicle fire, and it was eastbound 44 approaching Antire. It looks like the right side still may be blocked, but it's westbound 44 that is a slow go on either side of 141 tonight. And that accident eastbound 44 past Lindbergh that had been in the right lanes, looks like that's been cleared. Watch out for debris. We had some reported eastbound 255 just before Telegraph, and that was in the left lane. Now, if you're leaving downtown, 70 is slow at Jennings Station Road, and then Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through Wentzville. Accident eastbound 6440 at the Inner Belt, and that is causing a delay in that area. Now, if you are headed into Illinois, we look fine on the bridges downtown. There's really no delays there. But road work on the Illinois side causing delays. There's an accident first, and this is 64 westbound approaching 157. Then it's slow again approaching 159. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Michael's Flooring Outlet. If you have a flooring project that you're noodling around about, get with the team at Michael's. They're going to guide you through it professionally, expertly, with a ton of experience. They're going to put you into some products that are right for your lifestyle, because your lifestyle, if you don't have a free roaming bunny around your house like I do, might be a little different than my needs. We had some carpeting that was chewed up in my daughter's room, and I made the executive decision with my wife. We're going to pull the carpeting out of that and install hard flooring. We did it in 2 rooms with the help of Mike and his team. It looks fantastic. We even had, I've shared this story before, We had some product that was left over, and I had this area in the basement that we had talked about doing hard flooring in. And I said, why don't we just use the same material? Mike was like, yeah, we can do that. It looks fantastic. So I cannot say enough about the quality of the service that you're going to get. If you go to their website, igotfloor.com, you will see rave review after rave review. You're going to learn how great of work they do at Michael's Flooring Outlet with these 3 great locations in the area, open every day except for Sunday. So they're closed on Sundays. They're in Old Town St. Peters, in Darden Prairie, in West County on Olive. And again, igotfloor.com for Michael's Flooring Outlet.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. 1 discount per household.
Where common sense rules the mic. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, welcome back. Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon. Here on 97.1 FM Talk. Sorry, isn't that funny? You know, I do the voice practices, the lessons and whatever. And then as soon as I turn the mic on, I start sounding like crap. But anyway, thanks again to Scott Warmann and to Ethan. That was the trade deadline wrap. And, you know, hey, like I said, I'm Mr. Optimistic. I sit here and, you know, I remember thinking a few years ago that the Bills weren't going to win the division, and then they went on a winning streak and you know, through the tough part of their schedule and won the division. So I'm not saying the Cardinals are going to win the division, but 5.5 games out. Hey, let's see what they can. Let's see how they can entertain us these next 2 months. Scott mentioned the Winter Classic, and the Winter Classic was my freshman year of college, New Year's Day 2008, right? So I'm a college kid, go downtown we have a big ball drop here in Buffalo, go to that, and then go right to the stadium. I'm not kidding, right to the stadium, start tailgating for the first ever Winter Classic. Was so excited. You know, the Sabres had a decent team that year. They ended up missing the playoffs and losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins on a shootout. It was so deflating, but it was a fun time. And that stadium that they played in is actually entering its final season this year, and pretty excited. Kids Day, you know, Ethan and I were talking about preseason in the last hour. Kids Day, it's the one home preseason game this year for the Bills. And I'm like, I have to take my son because I want to be able to say that my son was at a game in the stadium that I grew up and fell in love with the Bills back in the 90s. So I am never looking forward to the preseason, but I am looking forward to that game at what will soon be the old Highmark Stadium as the Bills move across the street into the new Highmark Stadium. And to put the cherry on top of this whole story, I am going next Wednesday at 9 a.m. to pick my seats in the new Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, for the Buffalo Bills. And hopefully those seats I can then pass on to my son, who will be able to say he was at a game at the old Highmark Stadium. So, sports, there's a lot of people out there I know, they don't watch sports, they don't follow it. But for me growing up, and this is what my connection is, I mean, sports was the reason we went on a lot of trips. A lot of family trips were around Virginia Tech games, when they played in Washington, when they played in Columbus, when they played in Atlanta. You get the family and yet you go to the games. Sports has always been college football, NFL, baseball, hockey, always been really close to me. And hopefully I can pass that passion on to my son. When we come back, we will be talking about AI. I am obsessed with AI. There's, part of me is really scared of it because I saw the movie in the early 2000s. And the other part of me wants to get to know it better, right? You've got our email here at Odyssey. Our email, you open it up, and before you can actually read the email, there's a AI summary of what the person said in the email. So if you want to ignore the whole thing, you can just read the AI summary. George Rosenthal is here to talk about the latest comments from Mark Zuckerberg on AI glasses. We'll talk about that and much more after this on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
There was a vehicle fire on eastbound 44. Now, this thing was approaching Antire, and they've got the right lanes blocked. I don't see any smoke, but I do see the jam behind it. So if you are eastbound on 44, that's what's happening. Now, westbound is a little bit slower than usual, and that's on either side of 141. We've got eastbound 64 lined up, headed for the inner belt. There was an earlier accident there. And westbound is slowing, approaching Hampton out through Hanley. 70 westbound, moderate volume at Jennings Station Road and out at Highway A. On the Illinois side, some volume. There was an accident eastbound 64 approaching 157. Some slow pockets between 255 and 159. That's mainly just due to road work. This report brought to you by Infinite Vitality. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Ready for real weight loss? Infinite Vitality helps you lose 8+ pounds a month with peptides like tirzepatide. Track fat loss with 3D imaging. 2 months for just $400. Mention Annie for a $50 credit. Infinite-vitality.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
With the heat we have here in St. Louis, just a note, most air conditioners aren't set or able to handle 100 degrees without running constantly. So before you freak out and think your air conditioner is bad, here's a few tips. If you don't have ceiling fans in your bedrooms, you can get pedestal fans and put them in your room. Keep those running all the time. On a second-story house, put one pedestal fan on top of your steps and blow it into the foyer area up high so it's cooling the heat as it's coming up and circulating the air. If you have an attic fan, simple, quick fix, plastic bag, cut it up, and duct tape, because what's happening is it's sucking in all your attic air and the heat and humidity from the outside. Try those things before you call anybody or you call me. But if you did that, please call me, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. God bless.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 5:34. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
Consistently right.
It's a ritual.
97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, welcome back. Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon here on 97.1 FM Talk. And we are joined by one of the owners of ThrottleNet, George Rosenthal. George, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Before we get talking, I want to play. This is what we're talking about. This is Mark Zuckerberg talking about AI. Let's play clip one.
This vision is different from others in the industry who want to direct AI at automating all of the valuable work. At Meta, we believe in putting the power of superintelligence in people's hands to direct it towards what they value in their own lives. I expect that people will spend less time on productivity software and more time creating and connecting. I think that personal devices like glasses that can see what we see, hear what we hear, and interact with us throughout the day are going to become our main computing devices.
George, he's talking about glasses powered with AI. What do you think of Zuckerberg's comments?
I think he's 100% correct. I think the wearable AI is what's going to end up happening. And, he made a great point during that presentation. He said, look, this is something I took kind of weird at first. He's like, if you don't have AI glasses or AI wearables, you're at a cognitive disadvantage. And what he means by that is it's kind of like not having a smartphone today. If you had a flip phone and you walked around in today's world, you would be left behind completely in everything, from your daily life to talking and texting with family, your work life. Everything would be completely different if you did not have a smartphone. And that's the way this is going to be, in my mind, in my opinion, with wearables and especially glasses. And I do have, full disclosure, I do have a pair of the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the smart glasses. They don't have AI on them yet, but they are fascinating and a little creepy to wear at the same time.
So when you talk about AI glasses, George, I mean, forgive me, but what exactly are we talking about? So I remember when Google came out with these glasses like 8 years ago. When you're saying AI, what do you mean? What will we be wearing on our face?
So whether they're sunglasses or regular clear lenses, whether the lenses themselves are based on your vision and helping your vision. But the point is there's a computer inside the glasses, just like the smart glasses you can get right now at Best Buy. You can get them for $400 and it talks to you. It's a little speaker right at the bottom of the glasses. You can hear everything that the glasses tell you, but these glasses will be watching and with you throughout your entire day, learning about your job, learning about your family, learning about your daily tasks, helping you with everything that you do, recognizing faces. And I am terrible at memorizing names with faces. These things will see somebody in front of you and whisper in your ear what their name is. So it's completely going to be with you everywhere you go and everything you do, and then integrate that into a smart home so that when you get home, the AI is built into your smart home devices, and then you have a complete assistant with you at all times.
So that's glasses, George. And I'll get back to the glasses in a minute, but you're talking about AI wearables. What if someone doesn't want to wear glasses? You talked about the smartphone, which I think is a great analogy. If when this, starts hitting, if you don't have the glasses, you're out, or is there a different kind of AI wearable in the future?
Well, so Apple's vision were these big goggles, and eventually they're going to get smaller and more compact. But I think socially you're not going to walk around with goggles on your face and make that pretty much a norm. If you don't wear glasses, it's going to be everything like a watch. I have an Apple smartwatch on right now that's tracking everything health-wise, and you can play music from it and everything like that. But imagine AI built into your watch that then talks to your phone, that then talks to your glasses, that then talks to your smart home devices when you get home. And so it's helping you completely along the way with your daily life and everything. I mean, managing your tasks, filling calendars. So let's say you're having a meeting with somebody and they say, hey, let's meet next Tuesday at 2. And you say, well, where would you like to meet? Well, let's meet at restaurant ABC. Well, AI has already put that calendar invite on your calendar while you're sitting there talking to the person. So you don't even have to create a calendar invite and send it to anybody. Those kinds of things, it's going to drastically improve how you do everything in life and helping you with everything that you're doing, from any questions you have, directions, and soon augmented reality will be built into your glasses or wearables, so that if let's say you're going on a walk and you look up at a building and you don't know what the building is, it'll tell you this building was built in this year and here's who's in that building, and augmented reality will be part of everything that you're doing.
So there'll be a time where I can't lie to my wife and say, oh, I forgot. I actually have to tell her I don't want to do something.
Yeah, yes, I have a feeling we are not too far away from that completely. That will be completely gone. Yes, that will be completely transparent. Yeah, unless you ask the AI to lie for you, which in some cases you can get it to do that for you right now.
So, you talk about, so we'll go back to a base, right? It will be stored somewhere. But I mean, will the AIs be talking to each other? So let's say you and I are having a conversation in person and you introduce me to someone, right? Okay. Now someone else wearing those AI glasses runs into that person later in the day. Now, because my AI glasses learn that person's name, is that person's name now going to be in the other person's AI glasses before they even introduce themselves?
I think initially no, but eventually yes. It will all be one big system, depending on which platform you go with, whether it's a Meta, Apple, Google, whatever that may be, because not all systems are going to talk to everything because they're competitors with each other. So, but yeah, if you want whatever platform that you're on, let's say Apple comes out with the glasses and you have a smart home with all the Apple gear and you have an Apple smartwatch and an Apple iPhone, all of that complete environment will talk to each other. So it just depends on which environments. It's basically a race. It's a complete race to see who can get the biggest AI platform and that people will adopt, because it's going to be harder to leave that environment once you've signed up for it.
So the more people on an AI platform, the smarter that AI is.
Yes.
So
yes, and
right
it'll
now,
also be, it's continuously learning, and it'll be learning everything about you as well, and becoming more and more and more personal to you as you go through about your life with the AI. And then what's going to be really wild is when they start putting robots in your house that can then assist you with everyday tasks that are using the same AI.
So, right now, before I'm not wearing AI. A lot of the audience isn't. So in the AI that we have now, what platform would you say is in the lead of knowledge and advancement?
So they all have different, not all, but most have different uses that they really specialize in. My favorite, though, that I use every day, all day long, is OpenAI ChatGPT. That is literally at my finger. It's the closest app to my thumb on my phone. It's the closest app on my watch. I literally use it every day, all day long for everything. I don't even do Google searches anymore. I literally use ChatGPT to search the internet instead of Google. That's my total favorite. Now, will it always be like, wait, I don't know. I think it's probably going to change. And again, if a large organization like Meta comes out with an environment that I really like, then I can adopt and change over to that environment and tie it into every aspect of my day.
So, I mean, George, let's fast forward 10 years into the future, 15 years into the future. What is one thing that AI won't be able to do? Where is its limitations? Where is, what's the max for AI?
Well, so we're at the beginning stages of it. This is the horse and buggy stages of AI. When it gets to artificial general intelligence, AGI, that's when it will be smarter than any human that's ever lived. That is going to be the beginning of crazy in the way of whether we get really stupid as a species or whether we use it and get smarter. I have a feeling it's going to be the first where we all get a little more dumber because we're relying so much on AGI. But in the future, like 5, 10, 15 years, it's going to be robots. It's going to be AI, but it's going to be AI inside of a robot that can help you throughout your entire day.
So when does it get dangerous, George? Because, I hear the scare tactics of AI taking over. When does it get dangerous and it might be time to, reel back some of this stuff?
Well, I think Pandora's box is open. I don't think we're going to be able to reel back a lot of this stuff, but I think it gets scary when AGI, artificial general intelligence, is then matched with robots. That's when it gets scary. I think right now it's a matter of improving your life, your lifestyle, making you more efficient in everything that you do, from home tasks all the way to work tasks. I think that's where we're at, and we're going to be even more and more efficient with artificial intelligence. But I think you're going to see it in everything: cars, washing machines, microwaves. Everything will have that intelligence built into it. My refrigerator already can tell me what's in the refrigerator and what out of what's in there, what ingredients I can then make for dinner, and I can access that from anywhere. And so that's the kind of thing where AI is not just going to be an app on your phone. It'll be tied into everything that you do and wear.
Now, cheap people like me are going to have this very question. The AI glasses that are going to be coming out that, you said is going to be like a smartphone, and I think you're right. Is that going to be another data plan, or are these the kind of things that run off the data on your phone, kind of like my Apple Watch does?
So right now, the Meta sunglasses that I have, I'm actually holding them right now. They talk to my phone. So they're using the data on my phone. Now, there's a camera built in, speaker built in. You can talk to it. You can, touch the side of the glasses and change the volume, change the song that you're listening to. You can live broadcast on Facebook for up to 30 minutes on a full battery charge.
That is so
those
cool.
are the kinds of things. It's unbelievable. It's so crazy. Now, I will say there's a privacy concern that is an issue here, because you're walking around with a camera that's looking at everybody and everything and then recording that in its memory, so to speak, as to what the people are saying and doing and so forth, along with live pictures, video, and live broadcasting. So there's going to be some privacy issues that we're all going to have to deal with as a society when it comes to wearables or any type of AI built into anything that you're holding or working with. So that I think is going to be an issue when it comes to some sort of regulation that's going to have to make sure that we all have some sort of privacy when we're all walking around with glasses that have AI and cameras built in.
George, really interesting stuff. I could keep on going if I wasn't up against the clock. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
George Rosenthal, he is one of the owners of ThrottleNet, telling you about these AI glasses and beyond. We'll wrap up the show when we come back here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Hey, things are thinning out nicely on the roads. Westbound 70, a little slow at Jennings Station Road, and a little bit at Highway A, but that's it. Eastbound 40, just slowing at 170. Southbound 270 slowing at 70. And things look better on eastbound 44, where we had that earlier vehicle fire. Just some moderate volume at Antire now. And westbound 44, still a slow go, just on either side of 141. We look fine on the bridges downtown, but on the Illinois side, slow-moving traffic eastbound 64, all due to road work between 157 and 159. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
So many times I've sat in the 97.1 FM Talk studio and there's a story that comes up about cryptocurrency or Bitcoin in particular. And Sue and I, we look at each other and like, yep, we don't get it. And then we have someone who comes on and they try to explain it. And then we're like, yep, we still don't get it. Well, I'm going to change the dynamic of that because I get it better than I ever have. And it's thanks to a guy that we call Bitcoin Ben. Bitcoin Ben is a St. Louis native. He has 6 crypto clubs around the country. Bitcoin Ben's crypto clubs. He's bringing one to St. Louis, to his hometown. So if you've ever been curious, maybe you've been confused. Look, it is a little confusing. It's hard to get your arms around. I had a great dinner with Ben recently, and I understood a lot of what he was saying in a lot better way than I ever have. But I also know there's a lot to learn. So you can learn about Bitcoin from a guy who really is passionate about it. He's not an elitist. He's a truck driver who just wants to connect people here in St. Louis who want to learn more about cryptocurrency. This is going to be the 7th club nationwide. And if you want to learn more, you can know more and you can educate yourself and get really excited about this opportunity. It might change your future. You just never know. BitcoinBen.io to find out more today. That's BitcoinBen.io for Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends Mark and Neil Gelman from the Gelman team of eXp Realty. Selling your home, every situation is unique. Find the best options that are right for you from the real estate team who offer more options. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Guys, it's time to take charge of your health with my friends at Victory Men's Health. Mark Cox here. I already love what they do at Victory. They do hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, even vitamin deficiencies. Now they're offering specialty cardiovascular testing and even early detection cancer screening. Visit them at one of their 4 great locations, now in Sunset Hills, Town and Country, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Freedom has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, welcome back. Joe Beamer in for Mark Reardon. I gotta tell you, this AI stuff, it is really interesting. But George brought up flip phones. And, there's going to be a time where not having the AI wearables is like having a flip phone. We had a guy here at Odyssey Buffalo who had a flip phone until they made us, do the check-in with for our emails. We have to check in on an app to verify. He had a flip phone all the way up until that point, and he finally got forced into getting a smartphone. He is the last person I know, other than my grandmother, who was 100. Literally, she was 100. That he was the last person I knew that had a flip phone.
Okay, that entertains me. Was he just like a curmudgeon who said, "I don't need anything else"? Right. Or why?
He said, he goes, "I have my laptop. I have my computer here at work. I have my laptop at home. I don't, I don't text. He's very much, he wants to talk to you in person. He's the only person here I've never received a text message from."
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I give him all the credit in the world. I did a show a few weeks ago about, Gen Z is going back to the flip phone. They're talking about basic. And hey, I think we need to incentivize verbal communication. I mean,
absolutely.
How many people here have called somebody, had them not answer, and then 2 seconds later they text you, "Hey, what's up? What did you want?"
Oh, for sure. For sure.
How annoying is that?
It is, although I have done it too, Joe, because I think, okay, wait, I've got to run. I don't have time to talk for 15 minutes, but I'll, give you a text to just give me the heart of the matter. I'm not saying it's polite, but that's what I've done.
But if that's the case, I will always say, "Hey, I'm on my way to work," or this or that.
Exactly, yes.
What can I have AI read back to me?
True.
By the way, this is a plea I'm making on the air in both markets. I accidentally forgot that I had a banana in my Odyssey backpack. So it rotted, and now the backpack's ruined. So if anyone has any Odyssey points over there in St. Louis, I will gladly take them.
Yeah, that's gross.
I was like, "What's that smell? I don't remember leaving anything in here." And then a full, just rotten banana. Must have been there for like a month because it was when I was still on in the morning, and I just discovered it yesterday. That's how long it was in there.
Delicious. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Tasty.
So I need 250 Odyssey points. So if anyone out there has any, greatly appreciated.
You can have mine. I don't have that many, but I'll give them to you.
Oh, Sue, greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I love these bags. But the first one I ripped because it got stuck on the locker room at the gym. It got stuck on the little thing that sticks out.
Sure.
And that ripped it all apart. And then this one was obviously just my stupidity. So I don't have a good track record with them, but I feel as long as I have an Odyssey backpack, I have a secure job here.
All right.
And with that in mind, let's go to the audio cut of the day.
Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
And this is something we talked about a little earlier. Clip 37, Bryson DeChambeau on the presidential fitness test.
We have an opportunity at being the 70th anniversary of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition to literally change the fabric of kids' lives. And our first initiative is to bring back and reignite the President's Fitness Test, and then also reestablish some key other metrics on guidelines around building some communities, and also, again, with the president's initiatives around college, we think we can help in that regard too. But we've got a great established council with us that we believe we can change the fabric of our communities and kids' livelihoods for the future generations that are to come.
I am so for this, as someone who in 2014 was 11 pounds away from being 300 pounds. I know how tough it is to get out of that lifestyle. I know how tough it is to turn it around. And hey, yes, we all like to indulge. We all like a delicious, cheap junk food meal every now and then. But I also know that in my mid-20s, at almost 300 pounds, I had more health issues than I do in my now late 30s. So I think that we need to give kids a fair start. We need to teach them healthy lifestyle, active lifestyle, right? Everything now is made for you to be able to live the world while sitting on your butt. And we need to make sure that kids know, hey, yeah, you got to get to the gym. Yeah, you can't eat fast food all the time. And I applaud President Trump and his administration for bringing back that. I think it's a good start in that direction. Hey, it's been fun these last 2 days. Don't forget, Brad Young is here tomorrow. I'll talk to you next week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Okay, on the roads, we are really thinning out nicely. And if you're traveling on westbound 6440, it's fine now out of downtown. Little bit of volume at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. 70 looks great. Slowing at Wentzville, though. And still some moderate volume, 44 between Bowles and just past 141. And some slow-moving traffic on the Illinois side. Eastbound 64, east of 157 through 159. And that is pretty much because of road work. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
There are some people that I meet over the course of my career that kind of change my destiny. And I would put Alex and Gary Rosenberger at MastercarsInc.com in that category, because about 10 or 11 years ago, I met them and I loved what they did in Granite City. I just felt the inspiration. Father and son team. They have new